I made those.
Wow.
Long time ago.
Wow. I'm not sure that I'm represented in correct proportions. I feel like you have me a little wide there.
I don't think I do. It looks... Dude, look at this. You can see it on my screen in the preview. You don't look much... I'm a little taller, but we're both about the same width.
Okay. Well, welcome, everyone. This is SmashBoxxTV's podcast 174. So glad you guys could join us. We're here on December 19th, 2017. And we're going to have a first-time guest joining us a little bit later in the show. No, not Dynamite.
It's not very often we can say a first-time guest.
I know. Well, let's just say this. It's certainly overdue in that we're having this fine gentleman, Chris Dickerson of Prodigy, is going to be joining us a little bit later in the show after we wrap up with Dynamite Dana Vichy. So glad to have him. Chris Chris has played so well for so long and also won Rookie of the Year, a year or two ago. Yeah. And again, overdue that we have him. So it's going to be great. He's going to be coming to us from Florida, where he still is after this last weekend's event, the South Florida Open. So looking forward to catching up with him, talking a little bit about the event. And it's perfect timing to get a little bit of a year in review out of him, as he's put up a pretty stellar year. I'm sure Dynamite will be able to give us some details as we catch up with him. We are here on, again, December 19th. Time and date stamp for the December 19th. Did you have anything? Anything that comes to mind?
Odds are tonight they're going to pass the big tax bill in the House and Senate, the reconciled bill.
Okay.
So that is something that's going to affect us for the next 8 to 10 years, probably, in one way or another.
Taxes do that.
Yeah, I'm not going to say one way or the other.
Who pays taxes anyway?
Not you.
I pay lots of. There is what is it called? Capital gains taxes.
Yes,
I have lots of those to pay.
I don't believe you do.
All of. All right. So that's taking place tonight. Potentially. Well, one way or another. I mean, it's going to be up for vote. Is that how those things work?
Yes, it's going to be
those
up for
government
vote.
things,
and it's going to pass without a problem.
Okay. Well, so on the political side, December 19th, they're also wrapping up conversation. Well, a little bit of fallout yesterday. There was an Amtrak train, and I specifically came across this as well. Obviously, it made national news. There was an Amtrak train taking its first ever voyage from one area out on the West Coast to another spot, and then I think it came to light today was that it was actually traveling approximately 50 miles an hour over the speed limit for the area that it was in. So, unfortunately, a few fatalities there. That was taking place as I booked an Amtrak ticket myself today over here in the Midwest. So that's taking place December 19th. Also, December 19th, an anniversary of my mother passing 8 years ago.
It doesn't seem like that long.
It doesn't. She.
I'm sure. Well, I'm sure you could say it seems like way too long, but
yes,
it doesn't feel
certainly.
That way
so, love to my mother, also a local gentleman who was very gregarious and all-around amazing gentleman. Monroy Gowans passed away actually on the exact same day. So, not too much of a somber note because both of those people were amazing individuals, and of course we miss them and love them dearly. And condolences go out to Mitch Sonder fan as well. I think he said that his mother passed away. She had a battle with cancer of sorts as well. So on all of that note, we're going to move in next week, 26th. I guess the question is right away. Let's get it out of the.
Are we going to do a show?
Are we going to be here?
I'm going to be in town,
and I'm going to be somewhere. So let's. I guess we should just commit to it. Let's give away. Let me tell you this then. In the spirit of giving, in the spiriting of my mother and so many other amazing people. Next week, we're going to probably blow it out and have 3 or 4 different giveaways.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, let's do that. So I've got some stuff. We still have a little bit of support that had come from Keen Footwear throughout the year. Mm-hmm. I know we gave away a free pair of Keens last week. I think next week, at least a free pair will be given away. You only have a few days to cash in on those. They have a December 31st expiration date for you just to make your claim on them. So we'll be giving away a free pair of Keens again next week to our Patreon supporters.
I didn't have to wear the hat this week. I wasn't sure.
You can. I'm good with that.
What about you?
I didn't know. You were a little premature on the ugly sweater contest last week. Oh, jeez. So I first have to ask, with anything Santa related, where did this come from?
Underneath of my tree.
All right.
I honestly don't
that's
know
probably
if
fair enough.
Your big head.
I do have.
To be fair,
I got a big head.
You
Here
have
we
a
go.
Very large head. We have like 4 Christmas hats upstairs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's tight.
A little tight. You might get a headache if it's so tight. You can take it
That's
off.
not
You don't
too
have
bad.
to. Okay. All right.
All right.
I
all
didn't
right.
know I had that. I snuck
I
it out
did
on
not
you.
know. Keeping your... yeah. All right. There we go. So much for my good hair day.
Hey, it's the end of the night. Who's going to see it? Are you going to do an Uber ride on the way home?
Jeff says, don't mess up Terry's hair. All right. Well,
There's nothing that can mess up Terry's hair. It's still in perfect condition underneath of the hat. Let's be real.
all right. Well, so again, some extra giveaways. Tonight, we're going to have a very special giveaway. Johnny, we have a partner that we've been talking to and working with.
Yeah. Disc Member, which is basically one of the, I like to call them like a loot box almost, where you pay a monthly subscription or a monthly fee, and they send you more than you pay in goods. And this is through Disc Store or discmember.com. So it's a $25 a month fee, and you can either choose a disc golf or they have an ultimate option as well now. Well, we're partnering with them, hopefully throughout the entire next year, where once a month we're going to give away one of their boxes.
Wow.
And we're going to start tonight. We're going to give away their January box. So you'll probably receive it in the month of January when they come out. And release them for everybody else. Your name will be on that list, and you will get that. I believe it's a DGA box. You can go out to our Facebook page. There's a link out there to see everything that's included. There's some discs, a shirt, some stickers, a patch maybe. Just go out and take a look at that. So we are pairing up with them and hopefully going to make 2018 an even bigger year of giving. And if you want to qualify to be part of that drawing, same rules as always. Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. As little as $1 a month, you will be eligible for all of our giveaways that we do for our Patreon supporters.
That's crazy. So you could give just like $1 a week or $1 a month or whatever and be eligible to win hundreds of dollars worth of stuff every single. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing here. What about those taxes? Who needs them?
Who needs taxes?
We're going to get taxed on our giveaways. We've got so much to give away.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think none other than Dana Vichy is, I think he's on deck. We'll see if he can wake up. Maybe he's taking a nap like one of his children. We'll see if we can bring him in.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Daddy Dana.
Dana.
Daddy Dana.
Wake up.
Where? Dynamite. Are you getting any sleep? New youngin in the house. How you doing, buddy?
No, the sleep is eluding me, but believe it or not, it's my 2.5-year-old that has been causing problems. She's going through some sleep issues. But yeah, the baby, Lucy, she's sleeping pretty good, although she sleeps a lot better during the day. So she is up at night, eating and fussing a little bit, but still the main contributor is Edith. She's just waking up and running in our room, and
she's excited for her new sister. What can you say? Or she's jealous, one or the other.
Probably maybe a little bit of both, but I keep threatening her that I'm going to put her in her crib, and she doesn't like that. So last night she stayed in her bed and slept all night, and it was I'd say it was glorious, but I was still up because every single noise I heard, every time the humidifier bubbled, I thought it was Edith running in, and it's been a tough little sleeping stretch for me, but otherwise everything's good. We got a couple cute babies, happy, healthy.
This is gonna make you a little jealous and probably a little upset. Our bedroom, my wife and I, has no door on it. None. We had converted the attic to a bedroom, which is where we are. And so rather than having a door, we just walk up the stairs and there it is. Twice in the 8.5 years I've had children, have I had a kid in my bed that has come up and interrupted my sound sleeping. So just they never did that. So I can't feel your pain, Dana. I don't understand your problem.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it's 2 nights in a row and I can kind of get back to sleeping a little bit.
Some
Yeah, I almost messaged you guys and said count me out, but then I get a notification on Facebook that I've been tagged, that I'm supposed to be on Smashbox, and whatever. Here I am.
Well, to be fair, some say you seem a little sleepy when you join us, and we're going to turn that around tonight. You're going to give us
The first person that says that on there. I'm keeping an eye on the chat board, and they're getting the ban hammer. They say.
We got a lot of wrenches out there. A lot of wrenches.
Yes. All right, Dana. So we task you with giving us some updates from around the country, usually found on the PDGA website and beyond. Anything from this weekend outside the obvious, the South Florida Open, anything outside of the South Florida Open that caught your eye, caught your attention this week?
Yeah. Out in Delaware, Newark, Delaware, Jimmy McClevin was running another event. Great TD, designer of Iron Hill. But winter is coming, annual event out there. And no surprise to see these two names at the top. You could really flip a coin at this point between Andrew Fish and Mike Mosier. This weekend, it was Mike Mosier getting the nod over Andrew Fish, beating him by a throw. They both went 10-25 first round, and then Mosier went 10-38 to Andrew Fish's 10-31 to win by a stroke, and then third place, way behind, 9 throws behind. So no surprise on that front. 2 world-class players right there, and Mosier got himself another victory, and he's got to have, like, we talk about him quite a bit, but yeah, he's well over 200 career pro wins.
And to be fair, he's eligible to play in an age-protected division as well. So, yeah, very impressive.
One of our sports greats.
Definitely, he's someone to look up to. He's got a family, job. He's got a couple kids. They're a little older, but he's still playing at a really high level, year in and year out, hanging with the young studs like Andrew Fish. And Andrew Fish rating 10-21, not too bad. He had a pretty darn good year. He switched over to Discraft this year, and he played 17 events and almost hit that $10,000 mark in earnings. So quite a few wins out there on the East Coast. Probably, he won quite a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think he won around 10 events, and that's pretty darn good shooting. Maybe we'll see him out at some of the East Coast Pro Tour events and get him on Smashbox.
Yeah, and he's very active. For those who don't know, quick side note: he's very active on Twitter. I've been seeing and reading a lot of his tweets. He talks a lot about gender, women equality within sports. I know that was obviously right around this time was a very hot conversation that came to the forefront with Valerie Jenkins last year, and obviously is a continued push as we're always reaching for that. But I've seen him make a lot of posts or tweets, I should say, more recently along those lines in conversation, talking a lot about it in Ultimate. Ultimate's going through a little bit of a transition or a conversation piece right now, I believe, with the professional side, and then having some of the pro teams potentially moving to being in a co-ed setup, I believe. And again, I don't know all the details, but from what I just kind of catch on the fringe, it sounds like there's an interesting push going on over there for a little bit more of that equality and inclusion, I guess is maybe even a better word. So good stuff. And I know Andrew also from the tweets, I think he sent out a whole list of them the other night as I was boarding my plane. I saw him talking about some of his injury and some of the battles he's had this year. So for you to say that he's won that much money and done that well at those events, in addition or despite having an injury, is that much more impressive.
Yeah, and then new discs, a whole new bag this year. Went from being Innova sponsored to going Discraft. That's find the new favorite disc, but that just goes to show how good of a player he is to fight through the injuries, new bag, and still win that many events and cash for that much. So but he definitely his Twitter posts have opened my eyes to a lot of the gender stuff. The gender stuff.
I was gonna say, is that
so
is that
eloquent.
Your formal?
That's so eloquent.
The gender stuff.
I think that's what we're dealing with in politics and all over the nation is the gender stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, good stuff. Give Andrew a follow on Twitter. I don't know if you can throw up his Twitter handle or not, but definitely a worthy follow. Let's jump to the other side of the country. The Xmas Open, not the Christmas, but the Xmas Open, an annual event that's in Sylmar, California. Terry, do you think Steve Rico showed up to play this event in his hometown, his home course, the course that's right next to Legacy headquarters?
I have to almost abstain because I actually had a quick conversation with him Sunday night, and I got the scoop.
Whoa, you got through with him.
I did. It only takes like 300 phone calls, tweets, emails, and call-outs before he finally sometimes picks up a phone, as I've realized with everyone else that's tried to reach out to him. But I got a little bit of an inside scoop, and there's a shocker. What is it, Dana?
Shocker is he didn't win. He usually wins there. By my math, it looks like he got jumped from the second card by Brian Vaggi. So Steve probably thought after winning the lead card, winning his card, probably assumed that he had won the event, unless he knew what Brian was doing from, I believe, the second or maybe third.
It was second card, and if Steve had said that. I said something about, did you win? Because when I was out there 2 years ago, I think it was, maybe it was last year, he got edged out by Max Nichols, the lefty. And then he said, no, I didn't. Brian got me off the second card. He's like, bro, I started out real hot. I got like 8 out of the first 10 second round. And then I like parred out. And that's all she wrote. Brian apparently kept writing down more twos than Steve. And that's all he wrote, I should say. So, yeah. He got edged out.
Yep, that little swoop from behind. Too bad for Steve. But congratulations to Brian.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, wow, that's impressive. We saw Rico play an event and talk to Terry. So
it's the holiday season. And we even exchanged a couple more texts today. So I don't know. Steve Rico may, in fact, be someone you can actually reach out and connect with these days. We'll see how long that lasts.
It's the holidays. I mean, things are slow at Legacy. I'm guessing Rico's starting to put on a little weight to be Santa Claus for the family.
He does something special out there. I don't know. So that took place. A really fun event out at Sylmar. If you ever get a chance, it's really cool to be out there. Right there is where they have a shop, the 19th hole, or right at the course. I believe it's called Veterans Park, and it's all, I think it's $2 to play out there, and it's a fun course, and yeah, just down the road from the official Legacy headquarters and warehouse. And usually they're nice enough to welcome or engage you if you're in that neighborhood. So.
Little surprised not to see AJ Risley on the list.
Yeah, that's one I know he's been to. It's a couple-hour drive, so I'm not sure exactly why he didn't make the trek up. But speaking of the list, is that Carl Renda? Is that one of the Suds and Duds guys? Like, way down there?
Well, he shot above his rating. Let's give Carl a little credit.
Okay.
Carl's a 927 rated player.
I thought he was so much better than that.
Shot a 961 and a 938. I think he's a better mini golf player or something.
I don't know. That's what they keep talking about.
He can throw bottle caps or something. I think that's what he's rated.
And mini. He won a mini championship or something. And what else did you see out there, Dana?
Nothing much. Really, the only other event worthwhile talking about would be the South Florida Open, which you were at, and we've got Chris coming on later to talk about. Before Chris comes on, what can you tell us about South Florida? Did you wear shorts?
Oh, of course. Yes. It was what I would consider almost perfect weather. I love it when shorts are comfortable during the day. It wasn't overly hot. It wasn't disgusting or or muggy or anything like that. It was very reasonable. However, the nighttime temperatures, once the sun goes down, it's if you were being active, shorts would still be comfortable. However, pants are also comfortable. Like, to me, that is just about perfect weather. I love that 50 to 60 degree mark, which is what it got down to each night. So it was really nice. The 2 courses that they played originally, I think it was slated for 3, but with the hurricane and some other weather that had come through there wasn't going to be enough time to get everything in place and position. So there was the play at the 2 courses, the Okahili, I got to double check. And then Commons Park were the 2 courses that were played. It was 4 rounds for the pros. Again, we'll talk more details with Chris, but it was great. And Pat's in a really tough position. I give him a lot of credit for this. Pat Duncan, your tournament director, he loves the idea of having the pros and having people come down to South Florida, which otherwise doesn't get a lot of that pro draw because it's so far down into Florida. And he works really hard to try and make that happen. And this seems like the time of year to do it. You're in Florida and it's December. It seems like a no-brainer, but he's up against that classic battle of, well, which of our pros do and don't want to be playing at this time competitively? And I think that's kind of the challenge he's up against. And if he keeps putting on a great event, it's going to seem like a no-brainer to get to it. But, is that going to be enough? Is that ever going to be enough? No matter how good that event is, are you going to be able to draw people from all these other states to come down there? And I don't know. I don't know when we're going to see or hear that answer. So it was great, though, Dana. Have you played any golf anywhere down there in that area? West Palm Beach?
Not that far.
Yeah. So, and they said that's one of our challenges. Of course, we were at New World for the Pro Tour Championships, and he just said Florida is so long all the way down there that getting a tour event to bring yourself, I'll go down there for Throwdown the Mountain in a few weeks or a month or two, but to go all the way down to as far as they are or even past that can be really tough, to fit into the tour schedule. So I get his logic. I like it. Just a matter of, who we're going to see commit to it year after year. I think it was Big Germ that won it last year. And then I was really shocked to not see him return this year, quite frankly. So we'll see. Okahili and Commons, thank you. I think at one point I was on Okeechobee Road and then also Okahili. So hence the confusion. And I want to thank real quickly, I'm going to shout out to Seth Fenley, who's our social media coordinator over at the Disc Golf Pro Tour. He was kind of my partner in crime for the weekend, picked me up from the airport in Orlando. We went down there, spent the weekend out in that area, and then he ultimately brought me back. And it was great working a extra camera and doing some post on the Disc Golf Guys page and Instagram account, and just did a whole bunch of things and was a great help. So shout out to Seth for that. Appreciate it. Dana, were you shocked by anything you saw? We'll maybe leave that as your final question. Anything that you saw, whether it was on the social media or ultimately the results, anything crazy with the South Florida Open for you?
Man,
got a couple of team members there.
The thing that jumped out was one of your clips that Seth put. I'm assuming Seth did, of Kobe Geis just jamming putts. I think there was one of your clips. He had it was 4 putts of his, and he was just smashing putts, and there was a crowd cheering, and it was awesome. Love Kobe, and see him banging some big ones was pretty cool, and being up in the hunt. Spoiler alert: he finished in a huge tie for 3rd, but great shooting on the weekend, and not a bad way to end the year.
No,
he popped off a 10:51 rated 3rd round, so probably one of his better rounds of the year. We didn't see a whole lot of Kobe this year. I think he was more or less working quite a bit. Yeah, he played less than 10 events on the year, but he did chalk up 3 victories and then cap it off with a 3rd place at the South Florida Open. We'll call that a win.
Very impressive. Love seeing those guys. There's a lot of great people down there, and Kobe lives just a few miles from where some of those courses were. So definitely a home course situation for him. I think he played host to a number of our touring players that came down there, and it was awesome seeing him play. I think that was the first time I had seen him play. I've seen Dickerson, I've seen Turner, I've seen a lot of these other guys, but I've seen Grady Shue play before. But this weekend, the two guys that I hadn't really, I don't think, ever seen playing before included Thunder Schultz, who many of you may recognize or know as Silas's brother from a few weeks ago at the disc golf or at the Next Gen Tour. Him going into that playoff. So that's his brother, Thunder, who won the 2014 Junior Worlds, I believe. And then also Kobe. Those are two guys I don't think I've actually seen an entire round of either of them play. And in fact, I think filmed 3 rounds of each of them. So quite familiar with their games now.
Nice. It'd be fun to see some new faces on film.
There certainly will be, yeah. And what's great is all 4 players, including Jeff Hungerford, a big smashy, PDGA 688. Jeff Hungerford, along with the other 3 players, all that I got first round. So I filmed a card with 4 gentlemen first round, and then the next round was 5 gentlemen, was our lead card, and they were 5 totally different people. So in the first 2 rounds, you're going to get 9 different competitors that you'll ultimately see on the video blogs. So pretty awesome. All right, Dynamite. Christmas, right around the corner.
What did you get Ashley for Christmas? She's not watching.
She's not. We're just doing stockings.
Okay.
Stocking gifts. And so far I've only gotten her a coffee mug. Or cup. It's like a big coffee cup. She likes, a nice comfy coffee cup. So I got her a big one, and I should probably put some more stuff in there. You guys got any ideas for stocking stuff or gifts?
I'm going this year with an electric blanket. We had one for many years. It just kind of died out on us. And I'm going to get my wife a $100 yoga gift certificate for the place she goes to do yoga at. She'll go in the morning, and then sometimes she'll take the kids later that day as well. They do kids yoga as well. So she's been doing that a lot lately. So I think I'm going to do a yoga gift certificate for my wife.
I'd buy her a $10 mat and turn on YouTube for her. Isn't that but I'm cheap.
It's hot yoga, so I'd have to turn up the heat.
What did somebody? Wow, that's for the after show. I hear hot yoga is a thing.
It
and
is.
I know nothing about it, but we'll talk about that in the after show. That it does not need to be talked
Relaxes
about
your muscles more. You're hotter, warmer, stretch more. My wife swears by it now.
Of course she does. Yeah, and I still swear by Zumba. And before that, it was jazzercise.
Hey.
All right,
I'm sweating with the oldies pretty soon here.
There's a shout out to my mother. She used to teach jazzercise 35 years ago. So, all right, Dana. I love your grin. Good luck with this shopping. We may or may not hear from you next week. We're going to be live. I think we determined we'll be here. Hopefully, we'll see your beautiful red beard as well.
All right, I'd love to be here if I'm available. And if anyone has any bright ideas for me to put in Ashley's stocking, feel free to PM or reach out.
Next week,
I appreciate it.
Next week, if we get the chance, we should get that little baby on camera. Just saying, at some point.
Yeah, let's do it.
She's got to make her SmashBoxx debut.
Yeah, I'll have to see. I can't remember what size the SmashBoxx onesie is. I want to say it's not a newborn size, so we'll have to wait for that.
Just bigger than that, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, have a Merry Christmas to you and your family. Looking forward to catching up with you hopefully again next week. I maybe it goes without saying she probably doesn't need a Dana Disc Golf Pro Tour card to stuff in that mug, but I'm just to be safe. Maybe she needs one for when she gets back to work. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. I'll put together a little shadow box of, a disc, Pro Tour disc, and a Pro Tour card, signature.
Yeah, you're like,
jersey.
Yep. Yeah, like, honey, this is to remember me for when you don't see me half the year. Just look at this shadow box.
Oh, no, don't say that. That'll get back to her.
All right, pal. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dana.
Good night, buddy. All right, Dana Vichy. So out on the board real quick, I got to announce it's because it's pretty cool. I think they're traveling cross country, or at least getting some miles
I think
under
I saw
them.
Virginia to Massachusetts.
Oh, that's not that far.
No,
then.
I wouldn't call that cross country, but
No.
they're crossing some states.
Paul Macbeth and Hannah Croak are out. Hannah is out actively chatting on the message board right now, and as you said, she mentioned out there that Paul is in fact driving, so she's taking in all the action. Wow, she's got a wrench by her. We even give her admin authorities here, don't we?
We do. I mean, I figured once the engagement happened, she got a ring, but really, a wrench is better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's the SmashBoxx gift that keeps on giving.
That's the gift that keeps on giving. You can do way more with a wrench than you can a ring. Let's be real.
And that's a good point. It's very practical of you. So she says, yeah, go out to Pinterest, Dana, and you'll be able to find plenty of ideas. Zeppy's out on the board, Zach Pajek, a lot of our regulars. So thank you guys for all joining. I think in a moment we're going to be able to Skype up good old Chris Dickerson, and we'll be able to get him on the line. I hope that you have it out there. Oh, yeah, it's probably right there underneath Dana's. Yep, right there.
Oh, there it is, yeah.
Yep. In fact, heck, let's just dial him up. I actually told him about this time.
Wow.
So we're even close to on time. Go figure. Hannah says it doesn't compare to the wrench Paul got in Pittsburgh.
True statement.
I guess. It can be like that.
Well, I mean, that's sometimes wrenches are too big. I mean, that's hard to carry around. I don't know.
All right, we'll see if we can get Chris on the line. It looks like we're getting there. We can hear him.
Yep, we just need Chris to send his video again. Hit the little video button, and we'll be good to go. There you are.
All right.
Welcome to the show, Chris.
How we doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you all?
Good, good.
Welcome to the show. First, I think we should apologize that we haven't had you on sooner. I feel like we're missing out. We've had almost every major
contender, and we're overdue.
We're overdue to have you on. So
welcome.
Glad to have
Thank you.
So we'll start with the most important part of your entire weekend in South Florida. Sunday was your wife's birthday.
It was.
Did Sunday night finish off the way that she would hoped it would? I'm guessing maybe some celebratory dinner or travel was all in the mix.
Yeah, we went out with a lot of our friends after the tournament on Sunday, and we had about a 3-hour drive to Orlando for Disney World, so she was pretty excited for that.
Now, how often is it when you actually get to talk to the winner of a tournament and you can say, what are you going to do now? And we're going to Disney, and they're not lying. So that's pretty sweet. Seth wants to know, it's a great question, what was your favorite ride or attraction at Disney?
We only got to do 2 of the main parks.
Okay.
It was the Indiana Jones attraction. They showed us how they go about making a movie and doing all the stunts and stuff like that. So that was pretty interesting.
Sweet.
Now, is your wife one of those? My wife's birthday is dangerously close to Valentine's Day. It is. Did you know going into it that, like, I have a birthday and I have Christmas, and the two shall always remain separate? There are no combined gifts. Do you get that as well?
Well, we usually do gifts, but this year we decided to turn a gift into a trip. So the trip down to South Florida for the tournament, and then Orlando afterward was a birthday gift from me and the rest of our family.
Nice.
Very cool. Nice. All right. Well, getting to some of the basics, let's talk about this weekend a little bit before we talk about your year. This weekend, you came out, you had the hot round opening. I just mentioned a few moments ago, I filmed 4 guys on a card during the first round. You weren't on that card, but then I saw you for the rest of the weekend. Kind of break down the tournament for you as it, you played the same course on the first and fourth round and then the commons in between. But break down the tournament a little bit for you.
Starting off the first round, I started off very good. I think I birdied holes 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. I missed hole 6. So I started off the round the best I could have, and then kind of had a rough patch toward the middle, actually taking a bogey, and then got back on track to finish, I think, at a 42. And that was Okehele Park. Commons was a different kind of course, new to me, and it was a lot of fun getting to play it. There was, I think, on 13 to 15 of the holes, there was some kind of water you could end up in.
Wow.
Yeah, and that was a full day of golf. I mean, and we get so accustomed, both from the film side and from, you guys on the playing side, we've really kind of adopted this one round a day mentality, for the A tiers, for the national tours, the pro tours, the majors, this one round a day thing. So to go out and play Commons, which was a 19-hole course, and to play that, at a 9:30 start, and then have an afternoon start at 1:40 it was, but that was a full day of golf for you. Did that take any adjusting whatsoever for you?
Not really. Before I started playing the Pro Tours and the NTs, we would do that about every tournament. But being down there in Florida, it was 80 degrees or so. So after the first round, you could definitely tell you played at least a round of disc golf.
And it's fair to say you play like 6 rounds every round because you have a few extra pump fakes in there. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, that's fair to say. I get my my pumps in.
So it was interesting because I mentioned earlier I saw Kobe play a full round for the first time. I've seen you play before, but with each one of you, I definitely picked up almost all of your entire routines. Thunder Schultz, for instance, he always walks up, gives one, practice throw, so to speak. Nick Masters was really interesting from an editing side because he usually gives 3 pump fakes, we'll say, 3, motions, and then he walks all the way to the back of the tee, but then he doesn't hesitate. Like the second he gets to the back of the tee, he then immediately starts going forward to then actually start his throw. And you're always waiting for that pause, and it's not there. And then yourself, I noticed on your putts, it was usually a couple pump fakes, then a stop, and then you would throw. Same on your drive. What is it about your routine? Because fair or not, it's very noticeable. What is it about your routine? What are you thinking? What's going through your head, and how did that routine come about?
Well, going through my routine, I just I go up to the hole, I kind of look at it and get in my mind the shape of the shot I want to go or want to throw first, and then from there I want to decide on what the wind's going to do to it or what I think it's going to do to it, and it's kind of a checklist. So the shot, the wind, and then getting focused is the rest of it, I guess.
Now, you had I think I overheard you talking about one of the times you completely even faked out a fellow traveling golfer, Big Germ Coling. Yep. He was maybe a little flustered with his round and ready to keep moving, but what was that story about you faking him out once?
It was at Evergreen Park in Texas at the Texas States. I had about a 20-footer, and I walked up to it, and he was following pretty close behind, and I gave one solid pump fake, and he wasn't paying 100% attention. He just kind of started to walk by me, and he actually got a little bit past me whenever he noticed I still had the disc in my hand. He turns around and walks back, and then afterward he walked up, and he wasn't in a great mood at that time. He goes, "Yeah, sorry," and then that's all I got.
You made the putt, I assume.
I did, yeah.
Okay. Now, another thing I noticed is very rarely, almost never, do you miss putts. Spoiler alert for anyone out there, but
wow, really? Like an almost 1030 rated player doesn't miss putts.
But you like, when I was paying attention to the elevation and the wind and not just the direction in terms of front, headwind, tailwind, but left, right. Like your putt is so consistently dead center, both left and right, and up and down. What is it? If you were to describe to someone, what is it about the skill? But what is it about your routine or your technique that gets you so pinpoint accurate, so repeatably?
I think the one thing about it is whenever I do a clinic or anything like that, I like to tell everybody that you start out with the disc straight ahead and you want to come straight back and straight forward. That way it's always on that line and you can kind of move up and down whether you need to or not. But moving straight back and straight forward kind of keeps you straight on with the basket or where you're aiming.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of crazy how accurate left, right, up, down every time, pretty much the center. Are you looking at a link? Are you trying to hit the pole? Is there anything specific about what you're envisioning?
Yeah, usually a link inside probably 30 feet, maybe sometimes up to 35, depending on the wind. And then once I get out further than that, the hyzer starts to play a little bit in it. So you've got to kind of move it a little up and a little out. So it moves around.
Not too much. So talking about 2017, the year that you had, give everyone like a quick overview. Did you play, as much as you wanted to? Is there any events that you didn't get to that you were planning on, or that kind of stuff? Give us a quick overview of 2017 for you.
I think I started my first tournament in 2017 was maybe in February, and I hadn't got into the Savannah Open. I think that was in January, maybe the first tournament that I could have gotten to. But after the first one, I think the first tournament I missed, or the first weekend, was our wedding, and that was April 22nd.
Okay.
That's a tough one. It's tough to double book that.
Yes.
Yeah. I had, I think GBO was that weekend, so I've kind of made the joke since then. I'm probably never going to get to play GBO because I've got to do an anniversary that weekend.
Combine.
I'm sure GBO eventually will have like an anniversary flex start round or something.
Probably.
I mean, they accommodate to everybody over there.
Yeah, I've tried to tell her. Emporia is a really nice town.
It is.
It's great.
There's lots of stuff to do. They got a shuttle that takes you everywhere. I mean, It's only one round a day. So the golf's not super intense in that capacity. There's lots of things going on. There's places to go out.
Kansas
and go
City
bowling.
isn't that far away if you really want to go hit
Lots
like
of
a bigger
things.
city.
So you've got 40. I didn't realize it was this many. You have 40 tournaments right now that are listed on here, and that's missing a couple, but 40 events played currently with winnings of 25,005, and that's, again, not even fully up to date. Cashed in every single event you played, and then how many wins do you have? A dozen or so? More than that.
Zach Melton brought this up not a couple weeks ago. I think he had me at 18, so I think South Florida would have made 19 this year.
Yeah, it says, 17 or 16 on the PDGA page, 17 with the South Florida Open, and like you said, I'm sure there's a few in there that we've missed. Starting out, winning 8 of your first 9 events, not a bad way to start the year. Taking second to Spike Heiser, but
yeah, not too bad at all. So we talk a lot about the players, and I opened the show by discussing trying to get a drawdown to this tournament. Is that tough or not? Because some players are taking off. Some people are, essentially putting their discs away and calling it quits, for another month or two. Someone like yourself, Zach Melton, both come to mind as players that seem to be a little, Paul Ulibarri obviously comes to mind. Players that are out there more regularly, even at this time of year. What's your take on that? Or maybe is your play just proving that you're up for it?
I don't like to take as many weekends off as I can. I like to get out there and play every weekend. Just if you miss a tournament, it's kind of like not really missing practice, but you're not getting that tournament feel, and you're just out there throwing discs if you're just practicing a weekend instead of playing a tournament.
So do you see yourself playing about the same amount of tournaments for years to come? I mean, you're looking at 40, 42 this year, but do you see yourself playing about that many for most years?
Yeah, I would say so in the years to come, probably about the same amount.
Wow. Okay. What are some of the highlights? I mean, obviously you just came off this weekend with an A-tier win, and you had a lot of other wins, but any finishes or highlights otherwise that really jump out for you?
I think Outer Wild, third place at Outer Wild, that being a pro tour was pretty exciting, and the Charlie Vettner was a good win for me. I think it's a pretty big honor because the year after you win Charlie Vettner, they put your face on a disc as a cartoon character.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that.
Now, what is it? Yeah, I've seen Dave Felberg and a lot of the other people that have been winners of that event, and as they make kind of a caricature for the following year for the champion. I think that's awesome. What is it about an event that will? I mean, I look at some of your events and I think, okay, well, you're not necessarily going to the biggest tournament. You seem to stay a little bit more local when there might be bigger tournaments. Is that all about proximity or competition level, or what is it that may have you skip a pro tour event or a national tour or anything like that where you go?
Some of it has to do with the amount of travel, but mostly I try to go to the tournament where I think it's financially beneficial. So I think the Memorial and another tournament that I played this year were the same weekend, or maybe there were a couple of tournaments that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought that going to a tournament closer that had a pretty good amount of money added was better than driving 25 hours or so to play the Memorial. And, there's a lot of money added there, but you've got to finish pretty high up to make the money back that you're spending on the way out there and places to stay and stuff like that.
Yeah, I and that makes perfect sense, and you're exactly right. I'm looking at that may have been the weekend right around. I mean, you ultimately, with not going out to that West Coast swing, you're missing Vegas and you're missing the Memorial, which is 10 or 12 days out there that can add up in terms of cost. And it looks like you instead played a couple of weekends.
Won about $700 doing that instead.
Yeah, exactly. And probably had a fraction of the cost
Yep.
to go where you are. So you look at it more from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm looking at, as I scroll down, are there any events that are on your bucket list? Like, even if they're maybe not the most financially sound, is there any event that jumps out at you?
Yeah. Zach and a few others, they came back from Green Mountain, I think last year, or maybe it was this year, and they said that's really a course that you have to play. So I was kind of thinking about going up there in the next couple of years, but in 2018, Worlds is going to be there, so I think that's a have to. I'm gonna go up there next year.
Yes,
I would think so. Yeah, you definitely need to be at every Worlds.
Yeah, and that is an amazing facility, the two different courses. I think, I was going to say, I think you would enjoy it. I don't know of many that wouldn't enjoy it if you enjoy some really good golf and on a great facility. Looking at, again, I was just kind of scrolling through your list. Wow, very impressive. As I look at, one of your quote-unquote worst finishes is one of the largest events of the year, the Ledgestone. You finished 11th there. You still take home $1,600, which is great about going to the Ledgestone, is that insane payout. USDGC, you took 10th and still took home $1,475. All around a very crazy and impressive year. How many events did you play last year? Or was it about the same?
I think it might have
37.
been a little less. Maybe, yeah, I was going to say about 35, maybe a few more, or
Okay.
a few less.
Yeah, 37.
So you went 37 2 years ago, last year. This year it was 40. What does next year look like for you? Do you plan on hitting 40? Do you plan on hitting all the Pro Tour stops? Are you going to kind of keep it similar to what you're doing now? What do you see as the Chris Dickerson tour schedule for 2018?
I'm going to try and keep it similar to what I did this year, but I'm going to add in a few more of the bigger tournaments. So I'm going to try and get to as many of the Pro Tours as I can, and the National Tours and any other big tournaments that kind of pop up, or not pop up. They've already got them scheduled.
And now, one of the conversations a reoccurring conversation we have this time of year, which is always on the table, is sponsorships. And have I heard correctly? Last year you signed on for a 2-year commitment with Prodigy. Is that correct, or am I making that up?
That's correct.
Okay, so you're locked in. You've really been with Prodigy now since, what, 2014 or so?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you've been with Prodigy since then, and then you're locked in all the way through 2018. So I guess there's really no further conversation on that. Clearly, the discs are working for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is there any special announcements? Any Chris Dickerson discs that should be in the works that people could be on the lookout for? Do we need to start a petition here?
Well, each year they give us 100 discs for a custom stamp. So
okay.
I've already done my 100 discs for this year, but so in 2018, I don't know if I'll do it sooner or later in the year, but somewhere through 2018, I'll have my signature disc throughout the year.
Okay.
So what would you like as a stamp on there? You've got a nickname on tour. It's not a. I don't like it, but
come on now.
I'm not.
You have to embrace all nicknames.
No, I think we can do better. I don't like the.
All right. Well, what will be on your stamp?
What's going to be on your stamp?
What I've got in mind for this coming year, I think I'm going to try and incorporate the Tennessee flag, where it's got the circle and the 3 stars. I think I'm going to try and get the Prodigy stars in there on that, and do a couple other things and see how that turns out.
And then when you do a stamp on your disc for a fundraiser or commemorative or whatever the case, however you really describe it, is it more about the disc that you throw, the molds? Will you get molds that you specifically throw, or will you get the most popular molds, or maybe those are one and the same? But what will be your strategy?
Usually I like to get the ones that I like to throw. That's what I did this year. I used the F1 and the M3.
Okay.
But those didn't. Well, the M3 sold out pretty quick, but the F1s kind of hung around. I think I've got 10 or so left of them. But the year before I did D2s, and those sold out almost immediately. I had those only a couple of days. So it's partly what you like, and kind of what everybody else likes too. So
yeah, that's I always think about, what if you're stashing them or hoarding them and throwing them yourself, that may not be the best seller, and you have to decide on what's more important to you. Are you trying to move them and raise a few dollars, or are you trying to hoard them for yourself, maybe for another day? So because we don't see you as often, and again, we're overdue on having you on the show, give everyone a real quick rundown on what they'd find in your bag.
In my bag, probably a few X1s, a few D1s, D2s. Don't throw any D3s, 4s, or 5s. Do throw the D6 for longer rollers and utility shots like that. And as far as the H series, I throw the H1s, and I do throw an H3 that's pretty beat in, kind of straight flyer. F1s, F5s, M2s, and 3s. And as far as putters, I throw PA3s and PA4s. And my main go-to putter is a PA3.
Well,
okay.
I've checked your card. It checks out. It says D1s,
this was a
M3s,
quiz.
and PA3s. That's really Chris Dickerson on the line, so no doubts.
I passed.
Very nice. So anything else as the year turns out? I mean, there's this weekend which obviously butts up against Christmas. I don't even know if there's anything scheduled, but this weekend,
I was actually looking. There's about 6 events scheduled this weekend.
And then next weekend, I know there's a lot of little things going on. I don't know if there's any really big-time tournaments. Will you try and play this weekend or next weekend?
Not this coming weekend. I'm going to take this time off to spend with family and stuff like that. But okay. I'm going to have to look at the next few weekends coming up. If there's any PDGAs that are decently close within 3-4 hours, I'll probably head to those. But if not, Virginia likes to do a little thing they call the brawls.
Okay.
It's kind of like a monthly kind of thing. And I know Paul Macbeth, since he recently moved up there, he's been participating in a lot of those, and it's just good to go up there and compete with him.
Yeah, he's on the board, and I think he was just waiting for you to call him out. So sounds good. Yes, Hannah's on the board as well. Says yes, brawls. So it sounds like there's some competition that could be had over there. I mean, I'm gonna run a flex start C tier, and there might be like 20 people. So if you find your way in Wisconsin, okay, maybe not. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not worth it. Anything else you want to share with the world as we can? You're getting up early in literally just a few hours to start a drive as well. So I know we're not going to keep you too long, but anything you want to share with the world?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. All right, so we can expect to see more of the same next year. You up in near the top of the leaderboard, I'm hoping, because you're one of those names that I think that I can't say not a lot of people know you, but you're not quite that solidified name like we see with Macbeth and Sexton and Lizotte. But I've always said that I think you are
the silent killer.
Yeah, you are one of those guys that if, I'm going to selfish plug here for fantasy reasons, that in fantasy disc golf, I'm picking you every time because I can almost always count on you for a top 5 finish. So I definitely think you're going to become even more of a household name than we've seen this year.
I think you need to quit being so nice and quiet and just create a few ruckuses on Facebook and on social media. And then you're like, all right, yeah, that guy, yeah, one way or another. Did you just stay under the radar? Why? How do you do that?
I don't know. It's been a gift growing up. I do a lot of listening, not so much talking.
If I could only learn from you. If only. But I won't.
Apparently Hannah here says that you spanked Macbeth at the last brawl. So
dang.
There's already a rivalry brewing. I can feel it.
Wow.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
We will. Don't
That's
worry
what
about
we
it.
do.
That's what we're for.
That's
what
we
to
do.
Stoke the fires. If there's not some sort of controversy or
drama, we'll
or
manufacture
drama,
it.
We'll make it happen so that there's something for us to talk about in the downtime.
That's what we do. All right, pal. Well, we're going to let you go. You and your wife, Brittany, it was nice meeting her. And again, happy birthday to her a few days ago. And have a safe drive. And
happy holidays.
Yeah, have a great holiday. And hopefully we'll see you. I'm sure if there's a tournament somewhere around the country, I may run into you on any given weekend.
Maybe you can or can't answer this, but what are you hoping to get for Christmas?
Ooh. She's sitting right there.
Yeah.
Put me on the spot on this one.
I know. And I only ask because we're getting to the age where people ask me, what do you want for Christmas? And I think, I don't know. I bought what I want. So so it's hard. So I'm trying to get an idea from you. What do you want for Christmas? Maybe I'll steal that idea.
He wants more weekends in the year so he can go play more golf.
That too. But.
Yeah, maybe a little bit warmer weather would be nice for Christmas.
Okay.
All right. Fair enough. Easy one. All right, pal. Well, we appreciate it. Again, get some rest. We'll keep it short here. But thanks for joining us. And again, looking forward to seeing you more in 2018.
All right. Thank you all.
All right. Have a good night. Take care. All right. Again, Southwest Florida winner in Chris Dickerson. So kind of reached out to him. I think it was yesterday. I should have mentioned it to him as we were leaving on Sunday, but reached out to him and way overdue to have him on the show. Super great guy.
I would love to say like, oh, we didn't have him on the show because he doesn't win enough. But I looked at his numbers. He wins plenty.
He wins plenty. However, as he said, he's really it's interesting that he's strategic in that he's not necessarily going to the biggest events.
Mhm.
He's as much as he's playing disc golf for a living and a career, he's also being very sensible about it and playing the numbers games that present himself. And I'm going to go ahead and guess he's probably, what, 4th in money winnings this year in the PDGA? 4th or 5th-ish?
I would say maybe 5th.
Somewhere in that neighborhood. I mean, we know Wysocki and Macbeth, and then we talked about Paige Pierce. Whether it's a Sexton or...
I think maybe jumped up to 4th or 5th.
And we're just making stuff up here. I'm sure we could actually go out and take a quick look.
That's not as much fun.
I know, it's funny just to postulate as to what we're talking about.
Either way, with 27,000 in winnings this year, he's way up there, and I'm looking forward to watching him next year. He's one of my favorite players to pick, and it's fun watching him because he psychs out our cameramen, he psychs out most people watching. You kind of think he's going to throw, and you just have to realize, nope. Just gotta wait.
I saved. I got good at saving some of my record time, my film, so to speak, record time. When I was like, oh no, I can wait another 16 seconds before I think he's going to be really ready to throw. So real quick, a search out on the PDGA.com/players/stats. You can see this is, again, current to what's been reported and what's in and all that. So I know there's some more stuff that will come in and as this becomes more and more official. But Wysocki is listed at 79,000, Macbeth at 69,000, Pierce at 41,000, Sexton 31, Lizotte 28, Yuli at 26, and Dickerson at 25.5. However, I know Dickerson's is going to increase because there's a few that are for sure missing, and some of those other people might be missing a few that have been officially reported, but he's looking, probably 4th or 5th overall on the money list.
Yeah, I mean, and again,
I'm not going to second guess his strategy of where and when he plays. He's doing just fine.
I agree, and like I said, one of those names that it doesn't feel like he's a household name because he plays those regional events and doesn't always hit the biggest events, but when he shows up to the biggest events, he's always up near the top. So I'm hoping we'll see much more of him at the Pro Tour and the Majors and the NTs next year.
All right. Well, also out on the board, thanks, Andrew. I'm not sure what Andrew thought was a challenge for me. Something probably. But what I will say is another name that we saw, and I think I saw it unfold this weekend while I was out filming, Rebecca Cox moving from Team Discraft over to Latitude 64. I noticed that. She had made a post about it. I want to say that was I feel like there was one other one that I saw at one point. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I did see that post made this weekend. So Rebecca Cox going to Latitude 64. And so graciously, team manager Bob Giulio, I saw him post on Rebecca's Facebook wall, Discraft team manager Bob Giulio, that is, said, "Hey, Rebecca, it was great having you on the team. Let us know if you ever need anything." And so very gracious on everyone's behalf. So.
Well, we're getting into a time period, and I'm going to say a general time period, as in years, where I think we're going to see players switch back and forth a little bit more fluid, obviously, than we've seen in the past. So it doesn't make any sense for players or manufacturers to burn any bridges. You know what? Just wish them well, let them move on. And there's a chance that maybe in 2 or 3, 4, 5 years, they might be back on your team.
Anything can happen is what I think we've noticed. As we've seen, someone like a Drew Gibson who had left Innova a few years ago, represented Dynamic Disc for 2 years, 2 full seasons, and now is back with Innova.
Nobody? Oh, no, Innova.
Yes, no. Somebody loves him.
Somebody loves Drew.
But he's back with Innova. So you're exactly right. I think this is becoming a little bit more... I think just because you're gone or you leave or you go somewhere else doesn't mean that all opportunities are lost. Well, depends on how you leave, I suppose, but that's what it looks like. Ray Woodruff, I saw Ray, who runs along with his amazing staff and crew, showed up at the last few minutes. I saw him out at this weekend's at the South Florida Open. Ray is your Rocky Mountain Women's Disc Golf Championship TD, as well as state coordinator for the insane state of Colorado in terms of 50-plus PDGA events. It was great seeing you, Ray, as always. Good talking to you, and hope you're enjoying your week. I think you said you were in Miami for the week, so hopefully you're enjoying that.
Cool one out on the board asks, is it common for players to have, like Chris Dickerson, have a 2-year or multi-year sponsor contracts? I'll say that from what we've all heard about Innova, that seems to be a 1-year contract, a handshake deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it sounded like when Germ was saying, and a couple of the other players, that year by year they kind of reevaluate, and assuming that you're still around the level that when they signed you, you just continue to be on the team until you don't want to be. Assuming things don't change. I don't know about dynamic disc. Emac's on the board right now. He says anything with a question mark. I don't know what he's talking about, but maybe he's making a joke at Drew Gibson's sake, as we all do, because Drew's fun to make fun of. So I don't know what DD's sponsorship looks like. Maybe we can bring on a Robert McCall in a couple of weeks and ask him in general if it's a 1 or a 2 or multi-year deal. But there's not a lot. But yeah, Prodigy tends to seem to have 2-year deals from what we've heard from most players. Other than that, I don't really know much about the Discraft deals. I don't know much about the Legacy deals, MVP deals.
I think MVP. I want to go as far as saying they also made an announcement.
They made an announcement. I forget who it was, but I did see that they made an announcement of some sort.
I would like to mention it if we can find it here. But yeah, MVP had made an announcement also about signing on a professional representative. I think Steve Halloway also took down a win this weekend. Steve, one of the main men that I work and interact with over at MVP, super great guy. I think I saw that he took down a win possibly over in the Peoria area. So if I'm not making that up, congrats, Steve. Very cool. All right.
So do we want to get to the fun disc golf drama, or do we want to talk about, well, let's talk about regular PDGA news before we get to the fun disc golf drama stuff.
All right.
2019 PDGA Majors were announced.
Yes.
On Wednesday. Now, you and I were sworn to secrecy on last Tuesday. We knew what they were and couldn't say anything because the PDGA decided that, we're going to announce it on Wednesday.
We want to announce our big news on her by ourselves.
I mean, who's going to get to more people? The PDGA website, which probably gets a couple 100,000 hits, or us?
Yeah, I mean, they only have 80,000 likes on their page.
Please. Anyway, PDGA 2019, it says here, the 2019 PDGA United States Women's Disc Golf Championship, the 2018 location, which is next year, is going to be Lansing, Michigan, but the 2019 is Spotsylvania, Virginia. So there were 10 bids for the Women's Disc Golf Championship, which blows my mind because for the USDGC, there was only one.
Yeah.
No, because for Pro Worlds, there was only really 2 bids. And it went to Ledgestone.
Yeah,
I'll say it went to Nate Heinold.
Yep.
That area. So congratulations. There's getting the FPO and the Women's Disc Golf Championships. Having that many bids, I think, is a really good outlook for our sport and that particular event.
It's crazy.
It really is to have 10 bids. We'll read a couple. The 2019 PDGA Tim Selinsky U.S. Masters Championship only had 3 bids. This upcoming year, it's in Crown Point, Indiana, where we've had a few worlds. EMAC, he might remember one of those. 2019 is in Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah, and what's really awesome about that, for those who are unaware, with the Pyramids course that's directly across the street from the Maple Hill course, the competitors will actually be competing on both of those courses. So you're going to see action over at Maple Hill, which many of you have seen live or on in recordings or post-production. They're also going to be playing the Pyramids course. I myself, other than watching on video, I have not had any direct presence on the Pyramids course, but Jason Southwick, who is Steve Dodge's cousin, owns the property across the street, and so that is going to be into play for the Masters in 2019. So everybody knows Maple Hill from all the awesome events that have taken place there, and now we'll be able to see both of those courses in play there. So awesome. The Selinsky Masters, as you said, this year, Crown Point, Indiana.
Yep.
I believe that's like May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, somewhere around that time frame, early part of May, and then next year heading over to Worcester. So very cool.
All right, let's talk about the Am Worlds. This upcoming year, it's in Charlotte, North Carolina. Some of you may have seen Robert Leonard do a live Q&A earlier today. If not, you can go out on Facebook and take a look at that. But 2019, York County, Pennsylvania. So we're going out to the East Coast, Pennsylvania. Unless they move Pennsylvania, I think it's going to be on the East Coast in 2019. There were only 6 bids. I say only. There were 6 bids for that, which is funny because I compare it to the U.S. Women's. AmWorlds traditionally has had more bids than most other majors because it tends to be, and I'm going to say this in generalities, more of a money-making option for your club than the pro events. Because the sponsorship, the fact that you're not handing out cash, you tend to hand out merchandise. So there is a little bit more leeway for a club or a TD maybe to make a profit on that as opposed to Pro Worlds. So traditionally there have been more AmWorlds bids, but we only saw 6 compared with U.S. Women's.
I would almost just real quickly flip that on its head a little bit, or flip the coin, or different perspective, and I would say
I know.
It's easier to not lose money running AmWorlds.
I agree with that completely.
Than running a Pro Worlds.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that AmWorlds is making a ton of cash. I'm just saying you're not going to lose the money, and you might break even or even come ahead $1.
Sure.
So, the 2019 PDGA Junior Disc Golf World Championships.
Oh, I know.
Take a wild guess. Emporia, Kansas. I'm not going to let you. So 2018 and 2019, and I believe 2020.
Through $20 billion. Yes. No. They were awarded a 3-year bid.
A 3-year bid for the Junior Disc Golf World Championships. Mad props to them. I think they're going to have it. Now, do you think that only receiving 6 bids, the amateur disc golfs, because they're pulling the juniors out of that,
no,
is going to change anything?
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. The 2019 Professional Disc Golf World Championships. I spoiled it earlier. Peoria, Illinois. There were 2 bids received. Again, this is for Open and Open Women only. This upcoming year, it's at Smuggler's Notch, the GMC event, as many of you know. But now we're going to get 2 events up there. Yeah, they're doing a GMC and a Pro Worlds, correct? Or are they not doing a GMC this year?
No, there is not
GMC,
going to be
a
a Green Mountain Championships this year.
Okay.
Yep.
But no, it's coming to Peoria, Illinois, which we love as SmashBoxx because we know we can cover it. It's not far from our backyard. And Nate Heinold knows how to run an event where he can raise some cash. And in fact, he wanted this to be a combined Worlds. He wanted a Pro and Am Worlds in 2019, which would have been I think the first combined Worlds in an odd year.
You can't have that.
Can't have that.
That was his first problem.
That was his first problem. You can't go to. You needed to go to 2020 at least.
Yes.
And the PDGA has stopped that. They basically said, ixnay on the combined day. They're not going to do any sort of combined Worlds anymore. They like to keep it separate. They don't want to stretch ATD any thinner than they need to be. So we're going to see Nate Heinold put on Peoria Worlds.
And 20, I was just going to clarify. I don't think it would have been the first. 2009 was a combined Worlds as well. Yes, in Kansas City. Right? Yes, that was also a combined Worlds.
You're right. I missed 2009.
But yes, otherwise you were right on track.
God.
2000.
Yep, 2004.
2004 in Iowa. Yep.
And then they went 2009.
2008.
I don't think 2008
was combined.
Was 8 and 9 combined?
I think 2008 was combined, where Dave Felberg won, as did Jeremy Coling.
Oh, you are probably correct there.
I think so. So 2008 also. So, there was definitely... And then 2000...
Andy Bavel says in Kazoo. We know. I was there.
And then 2012 was also combined in Charlotte.
So 2009 worked me.
It did, but as you can see, you were right otherwise in that even-numbered years were the years to doing it. But that is really something I think the PDGA is going to push away from is offering that Pro and Am Worlds combined. As we see, they're actually all separated. Now we've got a Worlds every other week, I think, by some divisions or another.
I suppose you've got Masters, Am, Pro, Junior.
And Junior.
Yeah, we got four championships.
Separate World Championships.
So congratulations, Nate. I'm sure you're going to knock it out of the park. I was going to say, selfishly, it's going to be fun because we know that we can cover Eureka, which I'm sure this is going to be one of the courses. I'm going to take a wild guess on that. I know nothing. But I really do hope that they play McNaughton It's a great course. It gets 0 cell signal, so we cannot be out there. But in general, I think that it deserves to have players play that course for Worlds. So I hope that they can get out there, maybe swap out between McNaughton and that. I don't know what Nate's deal is. Nate usually is able to work out something with the city and get some kickback from them and work with them. So I don't know what the plan is, but I really would love to see some McNaughton action. Maybe some fun games out there.
I'm sure at some point we'll have a conversation with Nate Heinold and get some more details out of him, or we'll just make stuff up like we like to do. I'm not sure which courses will or won't be in the mix in terms of that Pro Worlds. Interesting fact that Peoria for many years held, and still I think does, hold the Greater Peoria Open. But back in its heyday, I'll go back to the late '90s, kids. Yes, there was disc golf back then. When I played, the Greater Peoria Open was considered one of the premier events in the country. Mm-hmm. It was actually one of the few times that you would get Ken Climo into the state of Illinois. It was really the one big event that he would come to. Lots of great golf, and then obviously with Mom and Old Man Wallace ultimately putting the United States Women's Disc Golf Championships there for many years before that started to travel around. So Peoria has a very rich, deep history of great disc golf. So seeing some of the Worlds and the Ledgestone and some of those other events taking place there, clearly no surprise there. So
pretty
exciting.
Finally, we're looking at the 2019 PDGA Pro Masters Disc Golf World Championships. 2018 is in Kansas City, where EMAC wants to win.
I heard.
That's the rumor. It's his first.
Got to get past me.
It's his first year, and got to get past us. It's not going to be too tough. Okay, he's good. He's got that big beard. Anyway, 2019, Jefferson, Vermont.
What?
So it seems.
You mean Smuggler's Notch?
I mean Smuggler's Notch.
Wow. They just keep running tournaments there.
Yeah.
What a great idea.
I kind of feel like the West Coast is really getting screwed.
No, be careful. Be careful.
Virginia.
No, you're right. So they're void of that area.
Virginia, Massachusetts,
and answer
Pennsylvania,
me.
Kansas, which is in the Midwest, obviously Illinois in the Midwest, and then Vermont. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm joking about this because to be considered, someone needs to put a bid in.
Yeah, so don't say they're getting screwed.
They
need to first
they
bid on it.
I agree.
And have a good bid, and then ideally a bid better than other bids.
I totally understand and agree.
So just be very careful with your words, because one of the first criticisms that you read out there is, "Oh my God, this totally sucks. There's nothing in California." Somebody in California has to first want to host one of these events.
Of course.
They have to want to.
Well, I don't know what the
other
other bids
were. And then they have to put on...
I don't know what the other bids
I'm just saying...
Here's what I know. The PDGA is in Georgia.
Yes.
And there's a conspiracy.
There you go.
That's all I know.
Thanks for clarifying.
No, I'm kidding. So hopefully, I'd love to see maybe 2018 and 2019. We need to get the West Coast guys some majors at some point.
The West Coast guys need to get themselves some majors. Be very clear on this. Because people, I am going to tell
you. I
you.
like to stir the pot.
No, I hate it when people go online and they're like, it's just not fair. We don't. Why no Worlds on the West Coast? Somebody from the West Coast needs to put in a bid.
To be fair,
like that's how that starts.
You know, we've had Worlds and majors.
Of
and
course, we
on
have.
The West Coast. It just hasn't been recently. So it'll be back out there. It's just a matter of time. I like to stir the pot a little bit. It's fun.
Well, I just like to use the right terminology.
I don't. It's not what I'm here for.
Anyway, so if there is, and this is a good generic statement, if there is not a major or a world championships.
Why are the majors and world championships following Paul Macbeth? He moves to the west, to the East Coast, and they all go there. I'm calling a Paul Macbeth conspiracy. You can mark it down right now that the PDGA is favoring.
They're favoring Supreme Flight. John Tompkins. That's what it is. Supreme Flight is somehow underwriting. They're like the Illuminati of disc golf.
Oh, man.
And Supreme Flight.
How do we get to be the Illuminati?
I don't know. But so if there is not a large-scale tournament, and this could be said of an A tier or of a team tournament or of any other kind of format or tournament that you like, if there's not one happening in your area, that means somebody didn't offer or isn't putting one on. And maybe that's can be the catalyst for you to start something, or you and your buddies to get something together or organize it. But it needs to start with somebody wanting to put on those events. So just be very clear on that. Yeah. Put in some bids. As Country Disc Golf says, I wouldn't know anything about stirring the pot, and I totally agree with that. All right, so
I trust that the PDGA is making the right decisions at these events, and they can only give out what has been handed to them. I completely have my faith in the PDGA. I'm going to put that out there.
Oh.
And there's a conspiracy.
One thing I will say, and I can't release any details yet, but there is some exciting news. I've had some conversations with the peeps over at the Next Generation Tour. They're in the planning stages for 2018 as well. I think they're looking for a little or a lot more PDGA integration. I know that some of the feedback that they had received last year, they kind of opened last year saying we're not going to be PDGA sanctioned events. That's not a priority at the moment for this tour. I had a quick conversation with Dave Felberg the other day, and it sounds like they are taking the 6 or 8 or 10 most constructed pieces of feedback or constructive feedback. They're taking those, and I think they're really taking them all to heart and going to make a few changes and adjustments and a few other details or arrangements. And so I think you're going to see much greater PDGA integration. They're talking about as big or bigger prize in 2018. I think they're talking about the same weekend for the championship. The date has been determined. However, we didn't talk about the exact location, so I don't know any details. So I don't have any real news to spoil or to speak of other than I know they're moving forward. There's a chance that I might be a little bit more involved with the Next Generation Tour, which I think is really exciting, and just some really good stuff from that camp. And then I also saw kind of in a similar breath, I think I saw Dynamic Discs and a Match Play Championships notification come across the Facebooks.
Yeah, I believe they're going to do a live stream in the next day or two talking about it with Doug and Robert.
Okay.
So let's keep an eye on their social media if you're interested in the Match Play Amateur Championships.
So there should be some good stuff out there.
Let's get into the juicy stuff.
And before we do that, I want to also say out on the board, I see Disc Golf Strong. Seth, who we've mentioned a few times. I saw Seth last week he traveled, I think we maybe even touched on it briefly, but he had traveled from California over to Arizona, I believe, to catch up with Paul Ulibarri and Ricky Wysocki. And just today on the Facebooks, I saw a video. Seth is explaining a couple of exercises, and Ricky Wysocki is demonstrating them, and it's great. So I know they were working together on some stuff. And again, check out Disc Golf Strong. He's doing great stuff out there.
Does Ricky have like a huck face when he's doing it? I think that'd be great.
His tongue was out the whole time.
Good.
Whenever he's doing any exercises as well.
That's all I want to see.
So make sure you check out Seth over at Disc Golf Strong. Thanks for the support. And we love seeing you out on the board and all the great work that you're doing. So.
For sure.
All
Disc
right.
Golf Strong.
Oh, I guess it was just ended up with Ricky. Paul Ulibarri could not cut it. Is that what you said? He couldn't hang.
He couldn't bench 45 pounds. Wow. Huh.
Interesting side note.
That's a funny thing to say, Disc Golf Strong, but hey, we're just here.
All right.
All right. So there was a little bit of drama on Facebook this past week.
Don't believe it.
Which is kind of funny because I kind of overlooked it for the most part, but some people didn't. UC came out and said, hey, these are my top 5 most influential disc golfers.
At the moment.
We're
very clear, because immediately, he was challenged by Climo and Dave Donapace not being on the list. But anyway, go on.
Sure, at the moment.
Top 5 most influential disc golfers.
List?
I think off the top of my head, if I recall who they were. Paul Macbeth.
Ricky. Eagle. Simon. And Sexton.
Okay.
And that stirred up a little bit of controversy in the fact that he left off Paige Pierce. That was the big one. And
okay.
And and again, this is all UC's opinion, but UC is a big voice in our sport. So when he puts something like that out there, it does become a little bit of news. It's just the way it is. His opinion is his opinion, and there's nothing wrong about it. There's nothing right about it.
Mhm.
It's an opinion.
Yeah.
I personally look at that list and I say, well, I would probably throw Paige in there. She's the number 1 female player. She's like the number 3 money earner. I would probably put her in there over Eagle, but depending on how you define influential, Eagle has a huge social media following. I don't know none of us know what that equates to in disc sales for any of those players.
No.
I do know Paul and Ricky both sell discs, and Sexton. Those 3 I know. I know that when the Sexton Firebird comes out, the internet literally starts on fire.
Yeah, they don't personally sell discs. They move discs.
They move discs.
Yes. Okay.
My computer starts on fire when Sexton Firebirds come out.
Yeah, understandable. And they're glowing because they're glow Firebirds.
They're glow Firebirds. Anyway, some people took a little bit of umbrage to leaving Paige Pierce off the list, and I kind of shrugged my shoulders and just, Paige addressed it on there, basically saying, I don't even want to paraphrase it, to be honest.
Yeah, if I can find it, I'll read it verbatim. But
and to be honest, it's an opinion, no right or wrong. I personally think Paige should be on the list over Eagle, but that's just my opinion.
So he later clarified, this is UC, in referencing or responding to Dixon Jowers, who said, influential in what sense? What are they influencing us to do? And he said, my perspective was a combination of these: international influence, ability to move product, online presence, and overall personality and charisma. Again, top 5 is really extreme, leaving 35,000 other PDGA members off the list. It is also my perspective, and I'm sure you will have yours. I'm happy to debate, but not argue, so on and so forth. So that's where I think it's very fair to say those were his criteria in what he said. And he said a combination of these: international influence, ability to move product, online presence, and overall personality and charisma.
I think Simon nails it, no doubt, because he's got charisma, he's got a ton of international influence, and that's fine. But again, even with that criteria, I still leave Eagle off the list. I still put Paige Pierce over Eagle.
Okay.
Just my opinion. I think she went on there and basically posted that she said, just today I sent 3 or 4 things overseas. She's the number 1 female in our sport, and I think she has
had one heck of a year.
Had a heck of a year. I don't care about how heck of a year she had.
Mm-hmm.
She is a dominant player in our sport, and she has the influence of a majority of the FPO players. And she is a mover and a shaker in our sport, and I look forward to it. And it's a fine debate to have. It's no different than the Macbeth Climo debate. You want to have that debate? Fine. I know where I stand. You know where you stand. Eagle versus Paige influence.
Yeah, and that's just it. There's no
definitive answer.
Yeah, there is not. There is a set of opinions. You can look at some numbers. You can look at impressions and views and clicks and followers, and you can look at all of those things. There is no official definitive answer as for them, especially when you are talking about 2 different brands in the sense. Now, if they were both on the same team, and then you each gave them a signature disc and said, okay, go out and push the signature disc. Even that's tough because one disc just by mold may be more popular than another. So there's no definitive way to do it. I can respect UC's list in the sense that that's what he feels. I've got no problem with it.
Without having hard numbers and a formula, take your Facebook fan page times number of discs with your name on it sold divided by XYZ. There's no good way to solve it. I will just say that I know Eagle moves discs, but I don't. If tomorrow, if there's a disc, 2 discs that come out, one is an Eagle McMahon PD2.
Okay.
I don't know, and a Paige Pierce
PP2.
Defender. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of discs. From my perspective on my social media, it appears that the Page Pierce discs get more social media push than the Eagle did.
Okay.
And granted, that's just
is that a Discmania? Is that a Discmania? I don't want to say problem. Is that a Discmania fault, or is that a dynamic disc fault or presence? You know what I mean? When you say that, that's
and of course
the way you worded that. That's an interesting perspective as well. Even
Facebook feed, and I just kind of think of the Facebook feed because that's really our window into these two's influence is skewed, no doubt. You know, I try to friend or follow most of our top pros, so I try to get a general idea of the flow and the feel of the disc golf community. And it just seems, and maybe it's because DD has such a great social media outreach that it maybe that is putting a thumb on the scale for me, and that I see more of that than I would maybe see Discmania. That's very possible. I can't exclude that from my perspective. I'm relying on someone else's magnifying glass to show me my perspective. But that's kind of how I feel, is that there seems to be more fanfare around a Page Pierce product than there is an Eagle McMahon product right now. And there's no right or wrong answer. It was just the disc golf drama that we saw this week.
Okay, well, it was a great debate. And then I'm not sure that I kind of took that post and ran with it a little bit, but I wanted to put my own spin on it. And I feel like it missed the mark, unfortunately, maybe because I led with the wrong example. I had then said, well, in reference to this list, I'm not going to argue about the list. We just did that, or I didn't even actually. There's no arguing about the list in the sense that there's a right or wrong. You're going to have a different list versus the next. Sure. I'm good with that. My question really is, how popular are these brands with these players? So it's kind of a similar question, but I'm getting down to, I wanted to dial down or drill into the specifics and say, is Discmania on the map in the same way with with Paul? Wow.
Come on.
Yeah, no kidding. With Simon and Eagle. Is Discmania on the map bigger because of Simon and Eagle? And then conversely, or similarly, is Latitude 64 on the map more because of Ricky Wysocki?
Yes, and yes.
Okay, so
go ahead.
I guess the question is, to what degree is that? And again, I know you don't have a spreadsheet. I know no one has a spreadsheet, but I wanted to know.
Manufacturers have a spreadsheet. Show me your spreadsheets, manufacturers.
I want to know just how big their sponsorship, how much either that influences or makes the brand that much more popular. And does popularity always equate to dollars and sales?
I think it does. I think in general, I think your popularity, it's a direct reflection of sales.
Okay.
Or can lead to. Here's one thing I will say about Discmania and the influence that Eagle and Simon have versus Page. Discmania with I think I screwed that statement out. But Discmania with Eagle and Simon, without them, without Eagle, because I'm going to leave Simon out of this. Without Eagle, I don't know how much smaller or bigger Discmania would be. Eagle definitely moves product. He has a huge social media presence, with his vlogs and whatever else he does. Dynamic Disc, they've been, someone put it on the board, they've been blowing up. I think P. Hamill put that for a long time. They've been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, when Page jumped on, did that jump up, or did it continue its incline? Did it take a step, or did it continue with an incline? I don't know the answer. It's hard for me to say. I don't necessarily know if Page helps any brand she's at, period. That's the way it works. I don't know if that's a huge help or if it's not, versus Eagle and Discmania. That's really what, and to me, is the big determining factor. I know that Paul McBeth pushes discs. He moves discs. I know Ricky moves discs. You know, the harp is a huge seller for Latitude. Before Ricky was on, if Ricky weren't throwing the harp, I don't think that's anywhere near as big of a seller. I just don't think it is. I know Sexton moves Firebirds. I know that. Like I said, my computer, I believe it beeps at me every time a Firebird is sold. I think it talks to me.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Chirps.
It chirps.
That is dying. It's too hot.
It's what Sexton does. He's got something in my computer. So to me, the argument or discussion, we won't say argument, the discussion is between Page and Eagle. Who's bigger? Who has more influence over their particular manufacturer? Maybe Eagle does have a bigger influence in Discmania than Page does in DD. That is relative, though, to me.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Again, it's a no-win argument either way you look at it. I just thought it was funny.
Interestingly, and so how I'll wrap that up and say is, some people thought I was taking a shot at UC saying, how popular would the Discmania brand be without those two? And I was asking that as a real question, and people took it as a very slanted,
like a slight,
yeah, like a slight, or that it was a skewed question. No. And when you read it, it could read that way if you give it the right tone or inflection. I was genuinely asking, though, how popular is Discmania without Simon and Eagle on the
You probably didn't use the right font. That's why people didn't read it.
I know,
right.
I didn't use the right Facebook font. So Hannah is on the board, who, again, Hannah Croak is traveling. Her and Paul McBeth are tuned in and listening, and she said, Paul's driving the vehicle, Paul said, quote, I can name 3 Innova players this year that made 6 figures. That's pretty influential, if you ask me. And I completely disagree with that logic. I don't think those, I mean, those 3, if you can name 3 players that made 6 figures, I think that's great, and I think that's great for them. I don't think that means there's a direct correlation to them being influential. Because guess what?
Yeah.
If we put your name on a destroyer, Johnny, you'd make 6 figures this year too.
Oh yeah. Put my name, Paul.
And so
if there's not a Smashbox Destroyer by 2018, we've got a problem.
I'm just saying. I understand what Paul is saying. You can name 3 people that did very well in sales.
Correct.
Which are clearly all Innova sales, because that's not what they're making on the PDGA spreadsheet.
We take Paul McBeth's name off of every disc and we put him on Piranhas. Do you consider that influential then? Does the Piranha suddenly shoot up?
If it does, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, that's the thing though. You put someone's name on a popular disc, it's a little bit harder to judge your influence versus putting it on something that's not nearly as popular of a disc. Yes, obviously everybody wants their name on a Destroyer. Everybody wants their name on a Firebird or an AVR. Those are, that's Innova's bread and butter, and a rock. So you've got 4 discs right there that if your name goes on it and you get a portion of those sales, I think you're getting high 5 figures or 6 figures out of that. So, but I understand where you say what moves discs. Take a look at does Page have the Convict?
Yeah, the PP Convict.
The PP Convict. Look at the sales before, look at the sales after. That would be my determination as influence, as opposed to your sales. Is that person pushing sales of a particular disc? I think that's a better judge of influence. So, I don't know.
Christy on the board says, tell Paul to get his name on the Piranha. Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing that's his next.
I don't know why.
If he wins another Worlds, I'm guessing Piranha is the next one that he's got, right there lined up for his
Zephyr.
next potential.
I think Paul should go with the Zephyr.
And I think Jarrett is maybe trying to back up exactly what I said. He said money doesn't necessarily influence its effect you have on the masses. And my point wasn't that those 3 individuals that you're thinking of or can name, I'm not saying they're not influential, and I'm not saying they're not all great people. I'm just saying the disc sales
Monarch,
do not directly, in my opinion, in your example, in what you said, I don't think that's necessarily a fair correlation. I think they're all great people, and I think they are influential.
Yeah.
But I don't think just because those particular discs sold well means it's just them. I don't know. And again, that's all just an opinion or a debate that could be had. Did I see Robert McCall? Robert the Hair?
We got the hair out
McCall? It has chimed in as well.
Yeah, Robert, you would, at this point, you would just take your caricature on the Disc Golf Answer Man logo at this point. I mean, the fact that it's not on there is kind of an insult. That's what I don't know. I would probably reach out to Bobby on that. So anyway, so that's the talk. If you want to go out and participate in that conversation, go ahead and stir it up some more. It's out on UC's Facebook page. I will say this. Follow UC on Facebook because he puts
and or Twitter.
He tends to throw rocks at the beehive. And for better or worse, I don't know if he means to do it. If he's looking to get a stir out of golfers, and that's fine. He's not being too insulting to most people. Or if he's just looking to stir up conversation.
I think from what I've gathered, from what I've read on his pages, I feel like he has a thought, he wants to post it, and
I've got a lot of thoughts I don't post.
But the resulting conversation doesn't matter to him. I think he's good with that. I mean, he's stating his opinions, and I'm totally good with him stating as such. They just happen to then create their own stir.
They do. Do you have an obligation as one of the voices of our sport, as I think he is? I think you and I and him and EMAC, and there's a lot of voices of our sport that I think are bigger than others. We'll say, if UC posts something versus, we'll say Chris Dickerson, who's a guest tonight. Chris Dickerson. If they post the exact same thing, UC is going to have a bigger voice in that conversation because of his outreach. Do you have an obligation as someone like UC and maybe he is, to not always put your opinion out there, not always put your thought out there for fear it's going to stir something up? I don't know.
Sir,
there is no, well, I'm sure there is a good answer to that. You probably shouldn't put everything you think out there, but
believe it or not, I have an incredible amount of restraint because I'd like to put things out there. Is there an obligation? I guess of course there is to some degree. We all know that.
And I don't have a problem with UC doing that. If his goal is just to say, hey, this is my opinion, but to put it out there and not think that there's going to be a huge debate behind it or a huge discussion or argument or quote unquote fighting words, if he doesn't think that is going to result in that, he's delusional.
Yeah.
Which I don't think UC is, because UC is a very smart guy. So if he doesn't want that conversation, he shouldn't be putting that out there. If he doesn't care that the conversation is out there, please continue to do that.
I think that's what it is. I don't think he cares.
It gives us stuff to talk about.
Sure.
And some of these are really good conversations to have.
I totally agree. And I think he knows that they may spark a controversy or a conversation, and I think he's okay with that. And for those reasons, I'm okay with it. I think it's great that he puts stuff out there.
I agree.
Some can get offended. Sometimes it could be, worded in a certain way. And I am certainly just as guilty of that on any given day, whether it's an intent that's missed or exact phrasing that just maybe slightly off that implied one thing versus another. I understand that as well. So I'm okay with it. I feel like as long as it isn't overly negative or judgmental, I think that's where,
or insulting would be a word.
Yeah, maybe insulting. I feel like that's where it would be in his best anyone's best interest, all of ours.
By no means do I think he was reaching out to insult any particular person by that list.
Oh, certainly not.
Not a Paige or a Cat
No.
or a Chris Dickerson or anybody that would be maybe 6 to 10 that you could maybe put in there and not really have an argument and be like, oh, I could see that person. I don't think that's UC's goal.
Oh, no, I totally agree. It's just he's not afraid to put his thoughts out there, and then from there, a massive debate usually ensues, which is also...
And I like it because, A, it brings out some really smart people to some really smart discussions.
It also brings out some really stupid people.
It shows me who the stupid people are, which I really enjoy because I look at some people and go, wow, that person's dumb. I know never to pay attention to what they say again.
And if you think about it, let's take this as a sidestep to say someone like Steve Dodge, who I think of someone else that runs a tour and is very influential.
I think him and UC would be
Steve Dodge puts things out there. Not always do you A, understand, or B, totally agree. Like there's plenty of stuff. I mean, Steve's never been shy about challenging a norm or trying a new methodology for something or going off the rails a little bit to look into something. Like, I mean, is that a characteristic of a leader, of someone that, is willing to take those risks and then put themselves out there in that way? I'm okay with that.
Whatever he's doing, keep it up. We got 2 more months of off season that we need to fill time for.
And as everyone's saying, it worked because we're all sitting here talking about it.
I can't count the number of times we said Dynamic Disc and Discmania and all the other and Innova. So they all win. They all win
because we're doing that. All right, and then the other little ounce of controversy, which was a little less, far less controversial.
I didn't see it.
I'll give you guys the spoiler. Our Smashies, the inside scoop. Last night, I made a post. Let me give a quick backstory. Austin Turner reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you have that picture from the other day, like with the rainbow in the background and me throwing a whole 16 or whatever it is?" I said, "No, that was taken. I know it was posted on my Instagram. Thanks to Seth. Some help, blah, blah, blah. He's got the original." He said, "Okay, send it to me." And I said, "Well, I was going to post it, maybe put up a poll or something along with it." And for those that don't know, there's a picture of Austin Turner, the lefty, Discraft sponsored, from the South Florida Open, presented by Dynamic Disc. I got to get them all in there. He won by Chris Dickerson and Prodigy. He had this beautiful rainbow, and he's throwing, and
is that the one with the turquoise pants?
Skirts. So
let's say it wasn't.
Oh,
really...
show it. Show it to those who are out there. It's out on my Facebook right now. If you can pull that on there.
I probably
so
can.
Here's what you're gonna see if you're watching along live. He asked for the picture. I said, "I'm gonna post it." He said, "Good, sounds good. I love it when people comment." So I went out there last night and I made the post and I tagged him and I immediately sent it to him and said, "Hey, it's out there." He's like, "Oh, great, love it." So here's the picture for those who are watching live. And I said something about, he's making some statements. He's got dyed hair and he's out there in turquoise skirt. Well, spoiler alert, people, that is not a skirt.
No, it's a pair of shorts that just the way
that
the
timing is perfect,
folded, that it looks like he's wearing like a tennis skirt.
It does. I mean, it looks a lot like it if you are looking at it. And some people got really, really mad and worked up about the idea of a gentleman out there potentially wearing a skirt. And
really?
start talking. Oh yeah, if you read the thread.
I haven't read. I saw the picture, and maybe this is just me. I saw the picture and was like, and I saw that kind of looked like a skirt, but I was like, whatever.
No, well, if you read the thread, which will probably be gone soon, I'll just take it down. Some people got really, really mad. Brought in PDGA rules and dress code and some legitimate concerns.
Sure.
If it were really a skirt, but it's not. It's just a little bit of an illusion.
2 things. One, if he really wanted to wear a skirt, a tennis skirt, I got no problem with that.
Okay.
Period. Let him. On the course, I don't mind. Because I have seen in a professional work environment, I have to go into sometimes an office that's 100 degrees and I'm stuck in slacks, and I watch women walk in with a nice drafty skirt and I get jealous. I'm like, oh, that would be so nice. I should wear a kilt or something. If he wanted to wear that on the course, I got no problem with that.
Okay. There are
and I know
some stipulations to it.
I know there are, and that's the other thing I was going to say. There are PDGA rules that dress code rules that probably prohibit that.
Correct. And I was going to look them up, exactly what they are.
And that's fine. I've got no problem with those particular ones. But if, for instance, I literally at Worlds, and this just made me think of it, in Santa Cruz, saw Bradley Williams in a ankle-length skirt.
Dress.
I think
skirt. They call it at that point.
That would be longer as dress. You're right.
When's a skirt?
Yeah, skirt.
When's a skirt become a dress?
At the knee? I could call my wife down. She might tell me.
For anyone out there, I'm not.
Hannah,
No. Do not sexism this.
No, I'm just calling out Hannah because maybe she would
I was going to say to anyone on the board, when does a skirt become a dress? That's what's important.
Yeah, Hannah's
here.
just upset that he wore those 2 particular colors in December. I mean, it's a little awkward, but no, I literally saw Bradley Williams in a dress at the Worlds in
2011 in Santa Cruz.
Santa
Yeah,
Cruz.
I know.
I watched him throw the whole round, and at first I thought, ugh, he's trying to draw attention to himself, and then I thought, actually, that's probably really easy to throw. Straddle putts or straddling on a particular course would be really easy in a dress as opposed to, maybe a pair of wind pants like I tend to wear or a pair of shorts. Like, that ain't bad. It's not a bad idea there, Bradley Williams. So.
All right. Tank top. Shirts that hang down lower, hemline.
So the big controversy was the fact that A, he was possibly wearing a skirt, and B, did you hint or throw something out there about his sexuality?
I mean, if that's what you want to read into it,
I think some people read into it that way.
Yeah, and certainly, and to be crystal clear, I could care less about anyone's preferences or sexuality whatsoever. Clearly not.
Yeah, that's what some of the comments I'm kind of.
Yeah, the topic or discussion that I was concerned about. He's had a great year. He's been with Discraft. We're talking about changes and all sorts of things going on with teams and whatnot. I don't know of or predict any form of. If I were to put $100 down, I would say we're going to see him as a continued thriving player of Team Discraft. But so I threw the question out there. He says he loves the conversation to take place. So it was all in good fun. I was going to say good-natured fun, but I almost even hesitate to say that because at that point you want to. I feel like if there's
it's almost
if there's a joke, is somebody the butt of the joke, and he didn't take it as that way, and he knows I support him, and we have a mutual love and respect for one another. So just to be clear on everyone, I know there were some people getting a little bit worked up. I will forward the picture onto him. However he makes his post, he can take it however he wishes. But I thought I'd give it to you, all our Smashies out there. It's not a skirt. It is just a funny timed photo that is in fact a regular pair of shorts. And if it were a skirt, again, if he's playing by the rules, that is entirely up to him as well.
I think he gets an unfair advantage when he needs to do straddles. That's my problem. That's my only problem with it.
And I was looking on the competition manual in terms of skirts, shorts, dresses. I'm assuming, I think somebody had said within there, somebody talked about
skirts,
and bloomers and things that need to be worn. And was he wearing that? I was like, you're going too far with it. But anyway, that's where that is at.
So your minor Facebook discrepancy.
Maybe I should ban myself from Facebook for a couple days. I should put myself on a
more than likely
some kind of a timeout or suspension. Yes, a Facebook suspension of sorts. I'm going to suspend myself from some social medias tomorrow. I'm excited that I'm going to be traveling. Speaking of Discraft, I think I may be seeing some of Discraft's workings and some individuals over there. I'm fortunate enough, I'm going to be traveling, working with Miles Parkhill over at Paragon and assisting him with some stuff, and going to be on a train, an Amtrak from Milwaukee down to Chicago tomorrow, and then Chicago to Ann Arbor area. And I'm excited to ride a train because that is going to, even though they have Wi-Fi there, I'm going to keep it turned off, and I'm going to hammer on some editing from this last weekend. And I've already got about 1.5 rounds already done from the rough edit, and I want to get all 4 rounds ultimately completed from the South Florida Open. So look for that on the Disc Golf Guy channel. I rented and used a little bit different cameras for the weekend. I'd love some insight, feedback, what you guys think of that, how it turned out, the look and the feel of it. I know I've made a few promises about taking some significant upgrades into 2018. I'm going to be doing some fundraising to do that. And so I'd like to know what you guys think, if you notice any major differences in terms of camera. I will say, don't hold it against me, the amount of times, and this was a new record in a bad way, the amount of times I lost a disc in the absolute bluest, bright blue sky.
Don't set their expectations that low.
Yeah, no, that's a better way to do it.
I don't know, because then people are like, "Oh, do I really want to watch it?"
Oh no, it's not like it's terrible. It's not like every other time you throw a disc, my camera's pointed behind me. Like I didn't do that bad of a job.
It's Florida. It's a blue sky. It can be tough to follow at times, especially on a brand new camera that you're renting out. And we'll just watch the video and we'll get
watch
we'll
it.
Get
but
to it.
I'd love your feedback. But I also want to let you know that happened a few times. One thing that was interesting that I learned with the camera is how often one would go out into the sky, and because of its autofocus, it had a hard time keeping its track on the disc. And I thought, because I would actually be following it and tracking it just fine.
I've seen Jomez videos. There's a line that follows the disc. How do you not follow it?
Oh, there's like a turquoise line that follows through the sky.
How do you not see that?
If they haven't trademarked SlowMez, I can have SlowMez footage in my videos, right?
You can. I would probably punch you. But it
seems popular
in theory.
So I'm gonna go with it, and I think you might see the disc golf guy with SlowMez. I mean, doesn't that make perfect sense?
Sure.
I'm just saying. Why not run with something that works? That'd be a good idea.
Just ride it, Miller. Ride it to the sunset.
Thanks for the ideas, there, guys. All right. No, this isn't the after show as much as we're randomly off topic.
We're getting to the after show soon. Again,
and a giveaway for the after show.
A big giveaway. We're doing the disc member giveaway. That's a $50 giveaway this week. And Terry talked about next week. We're going to do like a Smash Smiths Christmas.
Yes. So, good one. You just came up with that.
No, I saw it on the board earlier.
Darn it.
So we're going to do a bunch of giveaways next week. But yes, if you want to be eligible to get the disc member, it's a huge package with a shirt and a couple discs, a dry fit shirt, by the way, some stickers, some patches. There's all sorts of stuff. You can go out to our Facebook page and click on it. You need to be a supporter on Patreon, patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV to be eligible for the giveaway. Again, as little as $1 a month will get you eligible. And we are hopefully going to team up with Disc Member for the entire 2018 year, where once a month we will give away one of these $50 boxes. I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good for our patrons. It's going to be good for our followers. And it's a nice way to support, again, another disc golf company.
All right. And before we head out of the after show, I want to leave you guys with something to think about. I'm curious to know the largest one or two events in January. So think about that. Don't post them all here yet, but please think about that. And then I want you to reach it. Maybe you're running it. Maybe your best friend's running it, or your club's running it. I'd like to know roughly what you feel like. Now, if you're telling me there's a C tier and you're expecting 64 people, I'm guessing you're not really in the running. I'm genuinely, because I'm too lazy to go to the PDGA or the disc golf scene, I am looking for what are arguably the one or two largest, or a couple of the largest events that will be taking place. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in the after show, but that's something to think about. So if you know of a big event going on in your area, or one that you're traveling to, or you're the TD of one, let me know. I want to reach out and talk about a few things. So we'll have that coming up as well.
Cool.
All right. I think we can call it. Lady DMC81 fam says, awesome show. Love you guys. Thanks. Appreciate that. It's been a lot of fun tonight. We had Chris Dickerson, of course, of Prodigy Discs, taking down the South Florida Open. It was great to have him on the show. Hope
Finally.
Him and his wife travel well. Ryan Pilcher, thank you
for the super chat.
Super chat. Ryan Pilcher just chimed in with $10 on the super chat. Thank you so much. And of course, Dana Vichy giving us some insights, and in between his nap schedule for both of his lovely daughters.
It's not so much his schedule as opposed to Lucy's schedule.
Which is funny because, yeah, he told me the same, that it's Edith that's giving him the challenges. So nonetheless, whole lot of action going on over there at the Vichy house. So thanks to those guys for joining us. Thanks for all of you Smashies on the board. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come into the after show. Paul and Hannah calling in tonight. Thanks for joining in and participating on the board as well as we move forward. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Santa Claus guy, we will catch you guys in the after show. We're going to have a giveaway for our Patreon member valued at over $55 and some other random side notes and topics. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SmashBoxxTV's podcast 174. After snow.
It's true. There's no snow, so it would be after the snow.
Yes. What a pun to play.
Don't mess with me. I have a knife.
Have you seen? Thank you to Jenny Cook, Smashy, her and her husband, and 2 little ones, all out of Aurora, Illinois. Address it. No. She had posted on my wall the Winter Punderland video, and I gotta say I was amused by it. I'm a big fan of the puns, as some of you may know.
Like Big Pun?
Yes. I'm not a player.
I don't want to be a player. No
rush a lot.
more.
So she had posted. So go out and find Winter Punderland is a video that she had posted on my wall. I thought it was pretty funny. There's a few. I mean, as you can imagine, a few of them were a little bit of a stretch. Some of them funnier than others, but nonetheless, I like the. I'll give it A for effort there. All right, we're here in the after show where anything goes. I feel like we need an official tagline, or not motto, but like tagline. And in the after show where anything goes, we may or may not talk about disc golf, and it'll all be irrelevant or something along those lines. Does that sum it up?
It really does.
Okay, well, one of these days I'll write it down and it'll get consistent. So, in the regular show, had a quick conversation with Chris Dickerson from the South Florida Open. I want to again extend my thanks to Pat Duncan and everyone in South Florida and the West Palm Beach area. The courses that we were at were great. It was great to be there. The last A tier of the year, put on or sponsored by Dynamic Disc. And just a lot of great people, had a really good time, and looking forward to watching that event grow and thrive, and hopefully can attract a few more of our pros in the late season that it is. No holds barred. That's what we are.
That's an awful Hulk Hogan movie. Seriously.
Is there such a thing?
Yeah.
It's an awful? Really?
Yeah.
I don't believe you.
It had Zeus in it. I saw it in the theater as a little kid.
I vaguely recall it as well.
Yeah.
It does sound horrible.
The guy had a Z shaved into the side of his head. It was what a bad movie.
I think Country Disc Golf, Matt, does put it well. Smashbox After Show, where we talk about anything, topics don't matter.
I like that, CDG. That's good.
That is very good. And Country Disc Golf, Matt, I think I saw some newer videos put out by you. Please go out and check out his channel on the YouTubes, and a full-blown follow-up to that. I talked a few weeks ago, and you and I actually recorded some voiceover for the bonus footage that was captured at the Hall of Fame Classic. Mm-hmm. And as that started to unfold, and Matt recorded a bunch of stuff, I started editing together some more rounds that I had, and then I was worried about putting out the stuff Matt did with commentary, but then it would drop way off because then I would switch gears. And long story short, when the Hall of Fame Classic stuff gets released, you've got like all week's worth of stuff to watch. Just like the South Florida, you're going to have a handful of videos to watch. It's just a matter of, I don't want to fragment them and put out 2 of these and then 1 of those and 2 of these and get everybody all over the place.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of getting them all released, and I want them to have some sensible order. So look forward to all of that. I know we're kind of void. I mean, CCDG has put out some stuff, but we're kind of lacking in the disc golf video. People are
hopefully CCDG gets on there, gets their crap together and finally puts more stuff.
Oh, they just did release some stuff.
I know, I'm just giving them a hard
time. Go out and check that out as well. So, All right. And
Trevor
also
Hook.
in
I'm going to spoil Ferdinand. I'm just kidding. It's a movie about a bull. I don't know.
I also we always make the disclaimer, or not, or the invitation is a better word. We interact with all of our viewers so much more during the after show. So please, if you're on the YouTube chat board, please interact, ask us questions, and we follow along with that and are much more interactive. That's a good way to put it. All right. Andrew Clayson, who I need to also talk to offline, says we're the Smashbox after show where disc golf doesn't matter and the rules are made up. Chris Young says, let's talk about Bitcoin. Give us a quick Bitcoin update. I know you're...
So earlier today, Coinbase, the exchange that I tend to use, it's really the biggest exchange. August 1st, Bitcoin forked, I believe the term is. So, fork off. August 1st split off, so you got 0.25 Bitcoin and there's 0.25 Bitcoin Cash, which are technically two different, even though they sound the same, they're two different coins. It's confusing.
Neither of which are physical.
Neither of which are physical. You
the
can't,
cash or
none of which.
Yeah.
And so just today, Coinbase says, oh yeah, remember all that Bitcoin Cash? Here it is. We're going to give it to you. Finally, we've set it up in our system, so as long as you were here on August 1st. So now suddenly, not only do I have 0.25 Bitcoin, I've got 0.25 Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin Cash is tonight at like $3,000, so I've got, a quarter of that, so like $800 or $900.
Fallen.
And Bitcoin kind of took a little dip, and it's at 17,000. So overall, I mean, I've got, again, a little bit of cryptocurrency sitting in a make-believe bank somewhere.
Where you should be in crypto jail.
I should be in probably crypto jail. Shh, don't tell anybody. And it's really funny because if you go out to like the Bitcoin Reddit, everyone's like, don't tell people what you have. Never tell them. They're going to rob you for your Bitcoin.
How would they get it from you?
They would hold you at gunpoint and make you sign into your account and then hand it over to them or something.
What?
I don't know. Either way, I don't have enough that it's worth robbing me.
Well, I'll be the judge of that. I'll rob you and ask questions later.
That's a good point. I shouldn't.
Since when is too little to take from you?
That's a valid point, Terry.
Gosh, you could be thinking like a true thief. Jeff Hawkins says, did anyone see the cameraman get hit in the head on hole 8 of round 1 at the Belgian Turkey? I did not see that.
I missed that. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. Is it
cameraman hit in the head? Ouch. And I'm not judging because I've been grazed or hit once or twice, and things can happen. But hit in the head. Hopefully it didn't hurt too much. I need to get to bed, but I'm having a good time on Smashbox. That's what we like to hear, Zach.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound creepy or dirty at all.
Why say it?
Eagle is doing his Vlogmas. Yes, I think I saw that he was going to try or committed to doing one vlog a day.
Wow.
Is what I thought I saw. I think that I saw the very first one where he said he got his license. So that's breaking news. He got his license, his driver's license, and then I think he went on to say he was going to try and do a vlog every day. And I honestly, I don't know where that's at right now, but I know that was his attempt, which is very that's an aggressive approach.
You want to know how big of a baller I am?
I know. Trust me, I know.
I got a private screening of Star Wars. From
the actual movie?
Yeah.
So you saw it. Yeah. Okay. Let me read through a few things, and then we'll get to your Star Wars update. Country Disco says, I have the second round of the last tourney I filmed out by Friday. Scorecards are all I like. Okay. Nighty Night. Johnny V has a better hat flip for the after show. I haven't tried. Oh, mine's all pinned down.
You're pinned under your thing, so you got to kind of...
and it is starting to cut off circulation in my head finally.
It doesn't make you say anything stupider.
You wait. Then it's not over. The after show, the nighttime rambling, mumbling, bumbling, aching ears when you can win a disc, Madison. I like it.
Oh, when you can win a disc and talk to Madison.
How much is the chocolate disc? I don't think we have any chocolate discs, but I know DD has sold them. They had chocolate truths.
I'm guessing about $20.
They were like $20, $25, around $20. Godless was on Awesome on Netflix. Last season of Turn on Netflix. Terry, you stopping by the MVP warehouse when I'm in Michigan? No, I am not going to be stopping by there. I know that I'm not, but yeah, crazy. You've got two major manufacturers not too far apart from one another. Bitcoin Cash isn't Bitcoin. Yep. Catch Cam Cameraman and Austin Evans' newest video said he lost all his Bitcoins in one of the wallet places for theft.
Yep, you got to be careful on where you keep your Bitcoin. If you're
See, I would
doing
just log in at the public library and just leave your your stuff there.
Leave it right on the desktop there.
just create a bookmark, a shortcut.
It's a good idea.
Right to it on there.
Great idea.
And Christy says there's no way to get it back if it's stolen. I think that's correct. Well, short of the person saying, "Hey, I'll return it," but yeah, clearly a thief wouldn't have to do that. Love the snowflake logo. Thank you. We've
Christopher Hill, was that who did it?
That sounds about right. We appreciate any help. As you can see, we always need help with things
graphics.
like graphics.
Yeah.
And stupider is not a word. Says who? I think that's stupider.
Yeah, that's stupider than I thought.
All right, so the huge talk, obviously, this last weekend, which couldn't have interested me less.
Nothing but Star Wars.
Kids ask your Thursday night or Friday? Thursday night, did it release at midnight? Probably.
Well, yeah. So it's kind of funny.
Is there any such thing as Friday releases anymore? Are we
Friday releases are for most movies. Big, huge movies now will release. They'll say releases at midnight, but really will release at 10 p.m. usually. Huge movies, like a lot of the big Marvels, will actually have an early release, which will usually be about 6 p.m. on Thursday.
Okay. Just so they can inflate their weekend numbers.
Yeah, more or less. And so I got to go see it on Friday at like 2:00. One of our vendors, when you drop like $500,000 with a company, they really like you. And that's what my company did. I'm the IT manager. So they said, "Hey, John, would you like to come see Star Wars?" So I brought my kid and I said, "I don't care. Sure. That sounds like a great idea. I like Star Wars." And I saw it, and I'm not going to spoil anything. There's going to be no spoilers, so don't worry.
Unless I tell you.
Yes. And I'm just going to say it was good. I very thoroughly enjoyed the first third. I very thoroughly enjoyed the last third. The middle part was okay.
You're speaking of this particular movie.
This particular movie.
Okay.
So I'll say for those of you that have seen it or are a Star Wars fan, the Finn storyline I felt was a little slow and a little lightweight for the Star Wars. I mean, not lightweight for Star Wars universe, but just for this particular movie. But I thoroughly enjoyed the movie.
Okay. I guess so. Then I'll ask you roughly what was the runtime?
2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours and 33 minutes. It says so. Yeah, a little bit lengthy. Well, I guess depending.
I liked it. It basically said, "Oh yeah, all that stuff that you like about Star Wars, or all the things that you thought were important and things that you held dear to Star Wars," and basically dropped them and said, "We're going to do our own thing."
Okay.
So that is for what it's worth.
All right. Well, that's all we'll talk about. I don't know anything about it because I didn't see it.
No, and you're not going to.
And I'm probably not.
So yeah. So anyway, go out and watch it. It's good. Go see it. I like it.
Okay. And if there's more conversation going on that we won't bother referencing there, spoiler or not, online. So if you want to get into it, at what point, and I know you love this whole conversation, at what point is it no longer a spoiler? When could you, we'll use our podcast as an example, even though it's not a movie podcast, but at what point would you be comfortable talking about intricate details of the movie where you no longer care if you're spoiling? How many more weeks? Next week? Week after?
For a huge movie like this, where it was very difficult to get into showings, I think that I would say you're pretty safe after New Year's.
In this case. So another week or...
Another week and
almost
a half.
2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people are going to go see it at Christmas. And then maybe they didn't get a chance to see it this week or this weekend, so they're going to wait for next weekend. After Christmas, you get to start being like, okay, you've had a chance to see it. But I will still usually wait another week before I would go out and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe that Chewbacca ate everybody." It was weird, but he basically went cannibal and destroyed the entire Star Wars franchise. That's weird, but...
Is he a carnivore?
Yes. that much is definitely.
Is that breaking news for this particular movie?
Maybe there's a.
That was a super random question on my behalf. I didn't even know if he's in it or not.
If you see the movie, I can't say it's a spoiler, but it is a slight joke. In the movie.
Wow, man! I just really pulled that one right out of my hat. Out of my hat. All right, so some people are saying a good couple of weeks yet. Good 2 to 3 weeks.
And I'll say Adam Driver, who played Kylo Ren, is a fantastic actor. I thoroughly enjoyed his role.
Andrew Clayson says after it's on DVD, then it is no longer.
Until it's streaming.
All right. So I think a question. Truitt said, have I released Paul Macbeth's hot round? No, that's part of what I was talking about a few minutes ago regarding the Hall of Fame Classic. He has this insanely hot round, and it'll get released. That's the thing with bonus footage. I'm not going to go into it. I've got lots of extra footage, and it'll all get released, and I guarantee you're going to like it. It's going to be some good stuff. What is Sam Martinson, local to our area, says, what is your view about tree cutting around Brown Deer and Dretska? Those are two premier courses in the Milwaukee area. I saw some pictures online showing some trees that were cut down. Obviously, any trees that get cut down generally suck that it has to happen. I haven't been to those courses since I ran tournaments on them 6 months ago. So I don't know the impact, but yeah, it sucks. Old, big, 30, 40, 100-year, 200-year trees, whatever, being cut down on any course. Obviously, if there's a safety concern, I get that, or some kind of disease that's spreading, but I haven't seen any of them, so I can't speak to any specifics on that. Just sucks when they happen. Are you still running the chaining in the new year is a question that I was just asking. Yes, I'm working through it with the city. It's kind of officially confirmed as a 1-round C-tier flex start. It's chaining in the new year Flexi edition. See what I did there? That was almost a play on like sexy. What I call it? Flexi.
Just stop.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of clever. So in 1 round, it looks like roughly a 10 to 2 maybe will be the flex start times. You have to show up and be registered and ready to go sometime between 10 and 2. Once you get 3 or 4 people on your card, you'll be able to go out and play a single round. I'm not going to do any prizes except for the 2 hottest rounds. There's going to be a hot amateur round and a hot pro round. And there's going to be no other divisions. So you guys are my sounding board. Tell me if this makes sense to more than just me. There's no prizes other than in the pro division. There's cash. You're going to pay like $20 to play. That's basically going to get you a voucher or credit for a disc. Plus, it's going to cover ultimately the $3 in PDGA fees. I want to put all amateurs in one division and label it as advanced men.
Okay.
Do you ask why?
Why?
Well, the logic is, since you're not winning a prize or prizes or payouts because it's all in the player pack and it's only $20 to play, you would get the most amount of amateur points, I believe, if I put you all in a single division. And if I put everyone in the MA1 division, everybody will then get the most amount of points for playing there. That's my logic. So unless somebody else out there has a better idea, because if there's 2 people that want to play MA2 and 2 people that want to play MA4 and 6 people that want to play MA1, when we're talking about only 20, 30, 50 people total playing, there's no point in having a divisional breakdown to win nothing. So I figured this way, if everyone plays out even roughly according to rating, you're going to get more points taking 5th than you would get, say, taking 1st out of 2 people in a smaller division. Does that make sense to everybody? If not, and you don't know what I'm talking about, strike the last 3 minutes of this podcast. If it does, chime in and let me know. But that's my logic to it. That way you can earn a few more points for the people that are really there just to play for points anyway. So, yes, December 31st. Chaining in the new year, Lincoln Park, relatively short, cement tee pads. The tee pads aren't short, relatively short course, has cement tee pads. and the club's going to assure that they're all cleaned off and ready to go if there's any snow out there. So that's the plan. Yes, Christy says, yep, more people on a higher division, both equal more points. So, good. That's the plan. There should never be a divisional breakdown. Cool One says, just ratings-based cards. That's another way to look at it. You used it for... Okay, makes perfect sense. Well, thank you. We have some interesting...
Possible news?
Yeah. I don't want to call it possible news, and let me twist it a little. And maybe we won't break official news directly. A thought came across our desk today, which is SmashBoxxTV. Cover your hearts. Cover your hearts. I don't want to break them. SmashBoxxTV is open and welcoming to covering anything live. And if you've got an activity or an event or a tournament or a competition,
I'm just going to tell them.
I don't know.
One of our cameramen from year one came out and said, hey, I've got an opportunity to do some live streaming down in Texas of a cornhole tournament.
What? Cornhole?
And he asked us for our opinion and said, hey, what would I need? What would you do, this and that? And we said, well, you were so kind as to lend us your services at a discounted rate. What if we came down and helped you?
We'll do the same.
And we'll do the same. And at that point, we kind of, nothing is set in stone, but we think that sometime in January, we're going to be covering a cornhole tournament down in Texas. Big one, like a huge one, apparently.
A huge cornhole?
Both.
Okay.
And in the tournament.
So, we realize it's a big deal, as Jeff just said on the board. Maybe more importantly, A, we'll get our feet wet with the idea of being at a particular cornhole event, but B, it drives home the fact that we are open and welcoming to the idea of covering a number of other things. And this is just one example. If you had a chess match, city championship chess match, and you're like, my kid is in this chess match, and we want our grandparents to be able to see it from the other side of the country, and I talked to the PTA, and there's a budget, can you guys come cover a chess match? We would cover one.
We would.
The championships. The City of Chess Championships taking place in Chesterville, we would come cover that. So just throwing it out there, it's a really unique opportunity. We're really excited about it because it will broaden our horizons. It'll give us some more exposure to some other things. And the idea of covering a cornhole tournament sounds like a lot of fun. So
it does.
It'll be out there if we can work with this group as we plan to. We can offer it on our channel. They may have a channel of their own or some other feeds to put it on, but there's a good chance you'll be able to see it on our channel. So if something randomly pops up in January and you're wondering what's going on in Texas, there's a good chance that there could be just that.
So we might be there covering that. So we're looking forward to it because it will expand our horizons.
It will. So and we've said this. Local, your soccer club has a championship. You want a spelling bee covered. I know this sounds silly for us to say, but we really do think there is a very legitimate market out there for people and organizations that may want something like that. I've even said a graduation ceremony we could technically go cover. You may not want me doing commentary during it. I would highly suggest not. But we could go cover that. And I keep thinking, what a no-brainer.
How do you not know the Latin roots of that word? My God!
But seriously, what a great opportunity for a PTA or for some organization that says, yeah, that could save households thousands of dollars, or the challenges of Nana and Papa who can't come here from California over to Eastern Tennessee.
I've thought about a lot of this at my kids' concert just the other night. How they used to sell DVDs, and I bought DVD the first year. I was like, oh, yeah, cool.
Is that working out for you?
I never looked at it. I mean, it supported the school and whatever.
Of course.
But I thought, oh, they could just stream this, and we could sell a copy of it for $1.99 or something for anyone that wants it. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways that it, and someone's asking what exactly is our price. Our prices can vary. There's a lot of different structures that you can go with. If we ever had some kind of a payment gateway. There could be one way to do it, which isn't probably too likely, but there could be, almost like a pay-per-view setup. We've kind of dabbled in that concept before. Hey, would we offer a smash cut of a graduation ceremony where you like just put everyone through at like 200%?
Except for your kids is slow.
Yes, for the right amount, we'd we get a slow-mo with your kid going up there.
Maybe.
And prices can range. Of course, we need everything from travel expenses and all of our other costs and all those figured out. We need to then determine cameramen, hotels, and lodging, all of that stuff. So prices can be all over the board. But the real takeaway here is if you or an organization that you know could benefit from some top-notch, are we top-notch? Rudimentary or top-notch? Somewhere in between there.
Yeah, somewhere between good and bad.
Live streaming, those are things. And I'll say, a good friend of ours has also reached out and said, you guys should be at cooking competitions at like big barbecue
type
competitions. Things. And I think that would also be walking around to these $250,000 RVs and learning about, their process and what they've got going on and what their specialties are. I think that could be a lot of fun. And I can play cameraman. I could play host. There's a lot of. I could play official taste tester. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you could go about it. So, all right. So look for that. Hopefully, it's in the works. It could be a lot of fun. And what a great wintertime activity. Just think if we could. Let's get on the cornhole tour.
Sure. I'm down with that.
Okay.
Whatever. Good. Let's do a giveaway.
All right.
I suppose
cornholes for everybody.
I suppose I say that, and I should probably have been prepped before I said that.
Nah, don't bother. Prep. Who does that? All right. I will watch anything that you do. Lady Mc81 fam says, I'm going to the. He's going with the checks of Raisin Brands, poor choice, free estimates. Terry, you said DG alone pulled your schedule too tightly, and now you're covering cornholing and PTA meetings. I don't get it. Well,
you actually won't. The odds are you won't be at the cornhole.
Yes,
thing.
this particular one, will be probably on the other side of the country covering a disc golf tournament, but there's some ideas out there. Cooking dinner could be the after show. SmashBoxx exclusive. It's been reported that SmashBoxx is in talks to cover the Macbeth wedding. That conversation was...
We've talked about it.
Gently, at one point, broached. The question is, what weekend is it? Or should I say, which Tuesday night is it?
A Tuesday night wedding, just so he can be on SmashBoxx.
Well, I think that's a no-brainer.
Me too.
I mean, we'll cover it for free, even. No, I'm not a professional cornholer. All right, Sloma has some cornhole, yes. Curling, sure. Cover curling. Beer pong, sure. Curlstone TV. Horseshoes, you name it. Whatever you guys got, we could come cover it.
We got it. We got that.
I learned today about World Championship foosball. I can't even, I can't imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the greats, like a Steve Brinster, do some foosballing. Yeah, I just sit and watch. I was on his team, so I got to ride that pony. But other than that, no, I just sit and watch. Spikeball games during downtime of disc golf. Yep, I think though there's a clearly growing, and there's a good number of people, and of course there's spikeball tournaments and championships, just like there's Can Jam championships. I'd love to go cover all of those. Those would be a lot of fun.
All right, I think we're ready here.
Are we? Lawn darts, February 3rd. Okay, Terry, you got to officiate to truly cover the wedding. I could get some kind of. I'm sure I could go get ordained in some capacity somewhere.
I'm sure you could.
I think I already know who might be doing it. Well, maybe not. I bet the views alone of that wedding would bring in hundreds of cents. You're right, they would. And Christmas Light Showdown. Yeah, all right, cool one. I'm not going to repeat that. All right, so we've got a giveaway tonight. Again, how massive is this box?
I think the box itself is probably like this big.
At least 10 by 10. 12 by 12, probably.
Probably.
And what's in the box?
It's got some discs in it, some DGA. Yep. This is it. Now, January is their DGA push.
Okay.
So they've got some DGA discs, a DGA Polo, a dry fit, some stickers, and I believe a couple other things. Again, you can go out to our Facebook page. There's a link to exactly what it is. Now, remember, Disc Member is a one of the box services where you pay $25 a month and you get $50 worth of goods. What? So it is always
better than Bitcoin, folks.
It is better than Bitcoin. It's always a deal. It's never going to drop in value like my Bitcoin will.
Yep.
It's not a bubble. It's going to continue month after month to make you a happy person, unlike my Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So again, discmember.com. Please go out, and if you're interested, support them. Let them know SmashBoxx sent you. There's a link on our Facebook page to all that good fun stuff. Right now we have a total of 157 patrons that we will. I'm going to do this. We're gonna make this totally legit,
as opposed to all the other ones we don't.
So we're gonna go with 100. I'm actually gonna 157. We're gonna refresh this page. We're gonna get a brand new page,
just like they do on the waffles page, as they're called. Show everybody the certificate lock. You got to click on the random.org, and then up there.
There's a lock up here.
Yeah, no, click on just to the right of that. Click on it, and a green box will show. Yep, there it is. That's to prove that it's the official.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
Wow.
You have to do that in the videos.
Okay,
I'll be running a few raffles later today. Disc golf raffles.
Number. It is number 90.
Generated.
I go over to this particular spreadsheet. We look at who number 90 is, and number 90 is Alexis Muniz, who I believe was on the board earlier tonight.
What?
I believe I saw it. So Alexis Muniz, congratulations on winning the Disc Member Box tonight.
Boom.
Thank you for being a patron and being a supporter. We really appreciate that. So you can reach out. Yeah, Disc Golf Strong, they do Ultimate boxes as well if you want to be an Ultimate supporter. I'm not as familiar with Ultimate, but I'm sure they have similar type of product that we do. Different discs, different gloves, different hats, different shirts, all that good stuff, different towels, all that good stuff. So congratulations, Alexis. I will reach out to you very shortly so you can, and we will get your information over to the wonderful folks at discmember.com. Not to be confused with Dismemberment Plan, who we were talking about last week with Steve Dodge. This is Discmember, DISCMEMBER. And we will be doing one of these probably every month for the entire next year, assuming that our podcast continues through 2018. We don't plan on calling it quits, do we?
I wish. I so wish.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I am. And I have an idea for another podcast. And as I was closing out the regular show, I want to, if you have, either you are running or you're close to an event that is one of the larger events in January of 2018, reach out to me. I would like to have a quick conversation with you regarding some stuff that I'm working on. So there's a tie-in to a podcast idea that I've got there. So reach out to me, certainly. Yes, April is Salient Month. April Fool's Month. Gotcha, Ellen Risley. Yes, you're maybe on that list. I don't know, Ronald. Are you?
Ronald who?
I don't know. He says...
No, which Ronald? Literally just asked about that. I wasn't looking.
Oh, I don't know. Something about if he's on the list or not. Well, if you're a Patreon supporter, you are.
Yeah.
All right. Cool one says, Terry Miller. Hypothetical. If Dishcraft wanted you to be their media guru, a la Cool Daddy Slick Breeze of DD,
number 7.
full-time job, would you consider it? You'd be amazing. I appreciate that thought. Cool one. It would likely stifle or halt almost all of my other massive media operations in Johnny B's basement. How dare I give up this guy? I love Discraft. I love the people over there. There's obviously always talk about how they can continue to improve upon their social media presence and their media output. Here's what I would say about any company. Honestly, if any disc manufacturer came to me with that proposition, I don't want to say it would take an absurd amount of money, but a similar reason why I haven't applied for a PDGA job. Of course, no reason saying I would get one, but any of the PDGA offerings, if I were to lock in with any one company, I think it would really, well, I know, it would likely all but halt or stifle almost all of my other endeavors. Obviously, it'd be as you're saying, a full-time job. I know Bobby works full-time hours and then some. He works very hard, and he's great at what he does. I don't want to say it would also bore me a little. It would be an exciting challenge to work for any one company, but that's the problem. It's one company, and I know that Bobby does a great job with what he does. I think if you caught him off the record, he might even tell you he probably sometimes wishes he had a little bit more flexibility to do outside of just DD type stuff. And I know he kills it in that realm, and he's such a huge part of their success. But Bobby can't always just go off the rails and talk about random other stupid stuff like we do in the same media capacity. He has a very specific goal and focus in what he's doing to promote DD media. The short answer, Dan Harbeck says it, though. Come on, Terry, for the right price.
For the right price,
yes. Yeah, for the right price, anything could happen. And I would look at that with any company as a really fun opportunity. I would always be looking at what, not just at what Bobby's doing, but I would look up to Bobby even more so in the sense of the vision and the execution that he's had over at DD, because he is certainly setting some trends. I saw they also have a new, you said a couple weeks ago, something about real things that, real hard facts or real hard suggestions or something of what Gary Vaynerchuk, maybe he gives too much fluff and not necessarily like actual direction. Well, I would counter that again today, only in saying Bobby has released, I think, what's called a 2-minute warning. And I think what has to happen is he puts something out on Instagram, and anyone that replies within 2 minutes is eligible or can win something.
Okay.
I know Bobby's not the first to do that, just like I know Gary Vaynerchuk's not the first to do it. Gary Vaynerchuk, though, has famously had the 60-second club for quite some time now.
Sure. Okay.
I'm not going to say he stole that idea, but it's a direct ripoff of Gary Vaynerchuk's 60-second club.
I've never said that he doesn't give solid ideas. I've said that lately he has not. Like, lately his stuff has been way more fluff and almost, I hate to say self-promotional, but way more just motivational than like, hey, here's your social media. This is what you need to do. Look at doing, one of these 10 different things that have worked for me or other companies that I've worked with. This is more, you could try this, or you could try this, or you could try this. Instead, it feels to me every time I see it, it's more like, yeah, man, as he's sitting in the back of a car and someone's filming him as someone else is driving, I'm like, yeah, you can't let people tell you no. You have to go out and do your thing. Those are just haters. Even though I don't think they've used the term hater, but like those are just people that are trying to bring you down. If you are not making your own destiny, then you are failing at your life. That type of thing to me. Okay. Like that's the latest I've gotten from him. Never once would I say he has not given good advice in the past, just more recently.
Okay.
That's my thought.
All right. Does Discraft have a Bobby right now? I'm just reading back down the list
They've
here.
got Brian Sullivan.
Brian Sullivan does some stuff. Bob Giulio has been doing a little bit more on the social media stuff. I'm not sure who does all of what over there. They're clearly structured in a different way that their I'll say back office isn't as out there as, say, the DD's back office. And the DD's back office, when you've got a world champ like Eric McCabe, and then you've got the hair of Robert McCall, and you've got Cool Daddy who had an online presence before coming into DD full time. They have just a completely different makeup. Their genetics over there at DD were very different versus how they're made up, a little bit more traditional over at Discraft, and for that reason, I think they're different.
Dad's Drunk wants me to give a shout out, even though I don't like it, to
Robert McCall
and DG Pins. It's Alan. Or they are in the Disc Golf Media Championship game for our fantasy football league. As much as I hate to say it, they both had really good teams this year. They weren't the top 2 teams. The top 2 teams got knocked out, but DG Pins is on a roll, and I'm
good for them.
I'm still a little bit scorned by what happened to me this year and us, even though I'm going to say me because you haven't done anything. That everyone decided they were going to put up a bunch of points. We were the 3rd highest point scorer, and we did not make it even into the playoffs. I was a little disappointed. But there's always next year. Things happen. It's just the way it works with fantasy football sometimes.
Well, right after blockchain them, Bitcoin them up.
You should.
All right. As I said earlier, everybody's got a price. Yes, that is true. Will the Hatheiser? No. Thanks for your thoughtful answer, says Cool One. You're welcome. I hope that was a good answer. My wife and I have had the 60-second club for going on for a decade. Really? Do you win anything for that? Is that a Gary Vayner? Yeah. Okay.
I don't think it's a Gary Vaynerchuk thing.
Huh.
I think that's a dad's drunk thing.
I'm guessing you don't win anything for that.
I'm guessing neither does she.
No high fives. No hearts or likes for that. Smashbox Buzz. I watched these 2 guys come up from a young age. They're a great team, and that's how it should stay. Earlier, Dan Hardback or someone else had said, Alan Risley had said that would be the end of SmashBoxxTV. Again, Smashbox would definitely a different look and feel, and I guess it would depend on so much of a full-time. If I had a full-time gig doing media for anyone, what would that mean? And yeah, it would. It would mean that if it meant I was going to a tournament and I had a weekend obligation of, say, following around and Instagramming and doing social media for just, say, in this case, a Discraft team, yeah, it would be kind of hard to do unbiased commentary.
Yeah.
Paul Macbeth moves to 17 under par here on the 15th hole, but Austin Turner is at even on the 2nd card. He's making his charge. I'd find a way to mix him in there, but no. I've had some good success on Instagram posting a video or 2 of a good shot from the tourney footage I've gotten. I'm not crushing the views like Kona, but good enough for me, says Country Disc Golf. Keep putting it out there. Speaking of fantasy, any news on Skip Ace page construction?
Yes,
new features.
Ronald Harkey. There is right now. I'm surprisingly not going to give out the domain. There is a hidden domain out there that has the social media login that works. I've tested it. I've sent it out to 1 or 2 people. And I was told today that hopefully by the end of tomorrow, I should have the new layout. Basically, it's a complete redesign on the back end of the website to make it much faster and compliant with modern web design and not the 1995 PHP that I built it in personally. And then at that point, once that happens, we will start discussing how easy it is to upgrade certain features. It's going to be real easy to change the scoring system, which I plan to do. It might be a little bit more difficult to do a couple of the other things, but we have another month and a half before, January, about
2 months.
About 2 months before I'm things get hairy. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about the new Smashbox and the things that are going to be possible now that we have someone that knows what they're doing at the controls, so to speak.
All right. Dad's drunk. A guy named Alan and his wife.
They're doing the DG pins. Alan and his wife are DG pins.
Yep.
And he's right. We do need a Smashbox pin.
Yeah, we do. Scott Pittner, Paper or Plastic, says, from Paper or Plastic Sports, says Fox Valley Metro Ice Bowl, January 27th, indoor, you moved it on me, sorry. Indoor building for TD and helpers. Great place to come out at the end of the month. Correct. And the Fox Valley Metro Ice Bowl is one of the most successful ice bowls in the country. So they're doing good stuff over there in Illinois. I was not trying to say over there. Over there in Illinois. In fact, I played in the Fox Valley Metro Ice Bowl.
Your over there comment just brought to my mind, I think we have some lefts upstairs.
What? That's what I want for Christmas. Someone asked earlier, what do I want?
Maybe
Lefse.
Remind me on the way out. Maybe I'll give you a small bit.
Yeah, I love me some lefse. Lefse, potato-like,
like a real thin
potato-based tortilla type thing, Norwegian delicacy that I love and don't get enough of ever. All right, the off-season. On my iPhone, my laptop has been updating Windows 10 for 20 minutes and now is at 2% complete. Funny you say that, must have. I updated my computer last night, and I didn't even need to call you. I was quite proud of myself.
Congratulations.
I was mid-editing, and then I made the mistake of letting it update. It took like an hour or more, and when it was done, it saved the old .windows or old Windows folder. Yeah, it was just 22 gig taking up on my drive. So then I had to go remove that, and that took forever. You couldn't just hit delete. So I feel your pain, must have. Scott, will you be running the Illinois Open Series again and have trophy only in 2018, was asked. Joey Buttafuoco over there. Absolutely, Scott says. Is there a monitor? You're all reading comments. Yeah, Ronald, we finally took advantage of a spare television that's been sitting in Johnny's basement for all these years. And there's a monitor just off right center of where the camera is. So we're more likely to at least kind of be looking forward versus down, depending on what we're doing. I'd love to move it almost even more center.
If you move it more center,
above,
then I'd love to have it higher, but it's on a particular thing. If we move it more center, then I can't see it. So
you can barely read anyway.
That's a good point. But currently the setup is the television, this not old, but this couple-year-old Dynex TV is hooked up, and that has our Skype guest and our chat on it. So when I'm looking here like this, I'm looking at the guest. It kind of looks like I'm looking at the camera and reading the chat. Right in front of me, right down here, is the vMix program that we're using to switch the show. Over here, I have my desktop that I can do other searching on. And right now, I have a screen over here that's blank. So we're on a 4-monitor setup. We're only currently using 3. I don't know what I'd want to put over here yet. Terry's laptop covers up most of that screen anyway. I use it during the broadcast. Gary sits right where Terry is, and he uses that for his.
Does he use this monitor?
He uses this monitor for. He gets a full screen display, so he can see when he puts graphics up.
All right. Jeff Hatch says time to update to a MacBook Pro. I won't likely ever be doing that.
Cool one asks if we can give a walking tour of Johnny's basement. No, it is a disaster area with presents and just. Yeah, it's crazy right now down here, more so than normal. Normally, it's just a mess. Right now, it's a disaster area.
That's the best update. Good night, Sam. Thank you, Sam. Hopefully, we'll see you. You have a Merry Christmas. Hopefully, we'll see you next Tuesday, and then maybe see you on New Year's Eve if you're going to come play out at the Flexi edition, Chaining in the New Year. Just put down the down recessed in the table, then you can just look down and see it all. You should do a behind-the-scenes short clip to show us all y'all's perspective. I'm sure at some point, as Johnny, I'd like to get to a point where, and I know I've been talking about this for a while, and I'd like to get to a point where we have a room at my condo that is. Gosh, it can't be that big. I don't know if it's 10 by 10. Yeah, maybe it's 10 by 10, and it's an office. I created it as an office space really from day one. Unfortunately, it just became a massive disk storage space where I have hundreds. I don't know if there's over 1,000 disks in there now. And it's a matter of getting all the stuff out of there, and I want to turn it exclusively into a podcast, video recording type room where I can do all of those things, have a couple different monitors and those types of things set up. That's what I'd like to do, because then if I have an incredibly solid internet connection, which I think I could pay to upgrade, there's some stuff I could do with Johnny remotely. And it also could help with post-production, co-commentary, which I want to be doing more of on some of my Disc Golf Guy vlogs. So I really want to turn that space into a full-blown media office as well in the big picture. Going to do some fundraising for all of that stuff. Yeah, creating a media office is not inexpensive. Is there a Wisconsin must-have chip or snack? I know a few people must-have chips from their home state, mostly from Maine and Baltimore. cannot remember the names of the chips. What are you doing?
I'm messing around.
Okay. Chip or snack? I mean, we have cheese curds. I would say that's the snack. Cheese curds are probably the number one thing that people talk about in Wisconsin. There's fried cheese curds, and then there's just regular fresh cheese curds, both of which people would like.
All right, so here I just set something up real quick. You can see this is I'm on my camera. This is what we see right now. So there's the camera that's in front of us. There's the TV that has all the stuff on it. You can see
don't show my Bitcoin stuff.
That's the blank monitor that Terry's stuff is in front of. That's our vMix monitor. There's the monitor with any sort of news, and that's where I look at the PDGA results and all that other stuff. Other than that, it's just like my basement. Like I said, it's surprisingly awfully messy down here because there's a bunch of presents and stuff over there. That's our container where we carry all of our stuff in when we travel. There's cushions over there. There's a door which leads to a bathroom and
the
laundry. The dungeon. There's a little. There's Terry right there. There's our Smashbox. So that's kind of
there's this 50 Shades of Grey room.
That's the 50 Shades of Grey room. Shh, don't tell anybody. So yeah, that's kind of
only Johnny and I go in there. It's really weird.
My wife thinks it's strange, but what does she know?
But she has no problem locking the door when we go in.
I know.
All right. You once broadcasted live from the storage room. Is where we first met the grip bag. It was funny. I was in storage tonight, and I seriously have like 6 grip bags that I need to sell. They're all brand new. Somehow I need to sell them. People, just buy a grip bag from me, please. It's from the last year or two. Jake Harris had won a pair of Keens, I think, last couple of weeks. And he says that he got them. So awesome. Thanks for being a Smashy and a supporter. Quit winning everyone else's stuff, Jake. Appreciate it. You didn't get a chance to go play. Okay. I've got a must-have chip, but it's from Canada. All dressed ruffles.
Jeff Hatch asks, is that Hama's animal upon animal in the white box? It is. Actually, it's a game, I believe, or I don't even know what that is. But my wife has boxes upon stuff down here that I have no clue what they are.
Terry, you need to clear out that 10x10. I can come and help you clear some of those discs out of there, Dan, I know you have a pretty ridiculous collection, and yeah, I'm just a hoarder. I'll move on. I've got way too many discs. You got to see the Civil Rights Museum, though. Okay. I live an hour away, and I haven't been to it. Cool headset, Terry. Jake says, thank you. This was from a sponsor from literally night one. These are LSTN headphones, and with every set of these headphones that are purchased, there is a hearing aid that is purchased for an underdeveloped country, someone in an underdeveloped country, underserved, underdeveloped country. Sorts. Check it out, wanderingco.com or wanderingco. The last trivia giveaway, quick last second trivia giveaway. Been too long. Go ahead and run one. Dad's drunk. That sounds good.
Just stay tuned for next week. We'll have some good giveaways.
We'll have a couple giveaways next week. Raffle them here with the entry being
not
Super
just
Chat.
Patreon giveaways. We'll have giveaways for everybody.
I honestly don't even know which grip bags I have. I have the medium to larger ones. I got smaller ones. Just let me know. I'd have to look at them all. One bag, one night. We'd all learn to use Super Chat. Mom says hi. Hi, David Buckley. Casey Neistat video filmed at the abandoned Northridge Mall. Oh, no, I did not see that. Interesting. Was that had to be, maybe it was that in reference to some kind of skating? It's funny because just the other day I saw something on 88.9 on our local radio station website that said something about abandoned mall, and then immediately I started thinking about disc golf and leagues inside of that. But I did not know if specifically Casey Neistat was at it, so I'll have to go on. I'm a little behind on my Casey Neistat videos. I save those for the gym. Must have.
So you're way behind on them.
Don't bring my weight. You said way. All right. Posted. Okay, I'll have to go check it out. Must have. Buy it from Terry. I appreciate that. I have a bunch of great bags, and I haven't had the ambition to put them up and put them for sale.
Jake Harris asks, did he miss any updates on SmashBoxx tournament rounds getting broadcast to the Ocho? No, not yet. Today got an email from them, or no, yesterday I got an email from them because I asked. They gave me some information like, oh, if your product is 2 hours long, we need this many commercials. Well, after I cut down the most recent, I think it was Jonesboro, it was shorter than that. It was like an hour and 40 minutes. I said, well, what if I don't have an hour? Can you send me how many commercial breaks I need for each level for every half hour, like 1 hour, 2 hour? So they sent me that. So now I can put some edits into there that will allow them to have that. So I'll be able to cut that back. And as soon as I find out, and then they also said, hey, FYI, could you send me a little information about what you just sent me? So the video that Terry and I sent, I didn't give them any information. I said, oh yeah, here's the video. They want like, oh, this is the Memorial Round 4 from 2017 at Fountain Hills. I didn't send them any of that information, so that was on me. I need to make sure to get on that. I said, yeah, sure, I'll get that to you when I send the next video. So we're looking at that. Hopefully, as soon as I know more, you guys are going to be the first ones to know.
Sweet. All right. Yeah, it looks like I got a couple of videos to actually go out there and watch regarding the Casey Neistat and doing some cool stuff. It was Neistat and several other YouTubers doing a thing for 100 kids. Good. JVD, what do you think about Disney buying 20th Century Fox?
That is a huge media conglomerate. There's going to be copyright issues up the yin-yang for a while. Ultimately, it's good for Marvel because it kind of brings a lot of their family together, other than Spider-Man, who's still with Sony, but they seem to have something worked out. I mean, Disney's going to own everything. I have a feeling in the next 10 years they'll own us. Disney's just going to buy SmashBoxx, and
that'd be great.
I know.
I think I'd be okay with that.
I would be fine with that. So we'll see. I mean, Disney, I think it's going to be cool because you're going to see a little bit more of the interaction between the two separate universes. This is, again, a little inside baseball. If you're a Marvel fan, comic book type person or superhero, you're going to see more of that than we have in the past. Before, you would never catch, we'll just say, Wolverine in the Avengers because Wolverine was a Fox property and the Avengers were a Disney property. So now that they all are under one umbrella, you'll probably get a little bit more of that, which will be cool. So we'll see how it pans out. But I mean, it's other things. It's crazy things. Like we were just at Universal and they've got a bunch of Marvel stuff there and The Simpsons. Well, that's all owned by Disney now. So Simpsons is a Disney product. I don't know if it's going to stay at Universal Studios. They have a huge Simpson land. I'd assume it's going to stay there, but I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years. I mean, Universal has Harry Potter, and they're thriving off that, but I'm not sure. It's a lot of stuff to go on.
All right. Oh, yeah. I actually just got a message from my travel companion, my buddy Miles, and the abandoned mall turned into a winter wonderland, and he says, skip to 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and he sent me over the, Northridge Mall, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Huh.
Yeah, that's an abandoned mall. It was it's in a not shady. It's in the not nicest area of town, so a lot of people didn't want to go there when they could go to two really, really nice malls further south of that.
Huh. Well, that's awesome.
But
that must have taken place, obviously,
recently.
Very recently. Wow, that looks awesome. I'm going to have to go out. It's number 9 on trending on YouTube right now, but it looks pretty darn cool. And just for a reference point, that's from where we're at. We're actually closer where Johnny lives is to the Southridge Mall. And that Northridge Mall that they are referencing in that video is about 30, 35 minutes north of where we're at right now. Huh. That looks
cool
great.
Stuff.
Yeah, very cool. I'll have to go out there and watch that a little later. All right, guys. I don't know if there is... I said on the board, I'm not sure if I own 500 shares or 5 shares of Disney. It's one of the two.
I don't think you own 500.
It's not. I think it's 5.
I think I bought a couple of shares of Disney a year and a half ago, and they haven't done anything special. Country Disc Golf says 5 years. 5 Cents says Disney reboots the Marvel universe in 10 years. They've announced that after Avengers 4, not Avengers 3 that's coming out in May, but after Avengers 4, which I think will come out in a year and a half, that then they're going to start what they call Phase 4 of their Marvel thing. And it's not really a reboot because they're going to start using different characters and define a reboot considering every comic that you see, passes along. How many different Batmans have we had? How many different Robins have we had? There's been a few different Captain Americas, a couple different Iron Men, throughout the history of the comics. So I don't define a reboot in that. If suddenly Captain America is somebody different, is that really a reboot, or is that just the guy who plays Captain America is getting too old and doesn't want to do it anymore, and you have someone new? So I don't necessarily think reboot is the right term to use, but they will continue the universe, so to speak. What are my opinions on the FCC? I don't really have any. I haven't really.
As long as they're not knocking on our door, I'm good with it.
Yeah, as long as I continue to swear on Smashbox, I'm good
After
to go.
show mother. And that was a question, and maybe and it hasn't been actually discussed in many, many months. We are in no way beholden to or regulated or anything, any of those fancy terms to the FCC for anyone that knows or cares.
No.
Which I think that's a good thing for us.
It is.
Would it be better if we were?
No.
Is there any advantage to being regulated by them?
There's no advantage.
Does that give any kind of
No. Not in this day and age.
Okay.
No.
All right. Net neutrality. Yeah, another great debate for another day.
Don't get me started, Ryan.
Yeah. I wonder if DD's investment in Marvel paid off. It doesn't seem like it. Yeah, who knows? Maybe it did. If you saw their sheets and saw how many they sold, might agree or disagree. I have no idea. I have no idea how well that's done for them. If you're regulated, you're on real TV. Who says this isn't real? What are you trying to say?
There are people watching this on their real TV.
Yeah.
So we're on real TV.
And we have like a Twitch follower. So
yeah.
do we tonight?
There was one. He chatted. There's one Twitch viewer.
He or she.
I don't know.
Shout out.
I
Twitch?
don't know if that includes me, who's on this page.
Probably.
So, but Fredward0222 was asking questions of Chris Dickerson that I didn't catch. So sorry, Fredward.
Sorry, Fredward. All right. Will net neutrality affect our live coverage?
Possibly.
I mean, everything in theory could be affected.
Sure. I mean, if suddenly Charter, who's our internet provider, starts saying, "Oh, we see that you're sending video packets. We are going to slow those down unless you pay us X amount of money additional every month." That could happen. It could be that YouTube is slowed down for us particularly. I don't foresee it. I mean, we're small potatoes in general, but there's a slight 0.000005% chance maybe. So I don't think we're going to see. It's not going to affect us anytime in the near future, is what I'll say.
Alrighty. All right, guys. Oh, I didn't even realize we're right on that magical
midnight,
but
marker.
Yet random midnight 3-hour mark. I think we can go ahead and call it. We do want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas or any other holiday you may recognize or celebrate.
Yeah.
Season's greetings.
Season's greetings.
But seriously, thank you guys. It's been awesome. We are going to bring you another Smashbox podcast here in 2017. You're not done with us. Next week, a week from tonight, we will be back. We'll be back on the 26th, giving you all the action. We're going to have a handful. 5? Is that 5? Unless they're really heavy. We'll say we're going to have probably a handful of giveaways. We'll go a little harder on the giveaway action next week. So go out. Please feel free to become a Patreon. Maybe make that your Christmas gift to yourself. Making yourself eligible for the Patreon giveaways in 2018 and beyond. We just couldn't do it without you guys, and it's been a lot of fun. And looking forward to a great season next year, and taking over the cornhole championships live. I mean, We're going to own that industry, and we know you want more of that.
Own your cornhole.
Wow. On that note, we will officially call it good night. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that stuff. We'll see you next week. For Johnny and Terry, the disc golf guy, we'll see you then when you step inside the Smash Box.